brought to you by EA Sports. You're joining me, George Morgan, and Hayden Gullis as well as we head down under for the Australian Grand Prix. And they're already underway. I do apologise for a little delay. We've had just a few technical issues behind the scenes, but we've got those corrected and we are back with you live. Hayden, we're kicking things off. We're already into qualifying and Zafso has just been reported Inter's pole lap.
I know, massive performance there from our Season 1 champion, Zafso, coming out of the bag with intermediate pole, and I believe he got it because of a toe from GV68 and beat him by, I think it was 1/10 of a second. So fantastic stuff there from Zafso. First point on the board for today. Apologies for missing that to everybody in chat, but welcome to the Creator Series F1 here at Australia. Now, we're getting into the meaty stuff. We're getting into those fast qualifying lap times and who is going to be putting it at the top.
Well, we'll soon find out. And Stop Rob immediately going to the top, though, however, with a 1:16.120. Puts him ahead of Peya in the RB. That's the V-carb that was sitting at the very top of the table, but the Mercedes now holding all the cards at this stage. Further down, we've also got some new drivers coming in as well. Tom from Alpine is out. He's not here, of course. Arsenault coming in this time to replace him. El Reguri, championship leader, not featuring tonight, replaced by Hoodie Pete in the Aston Martin. Curbs, the long-term Williams driver. He's got Adam Sanderson hopping in for him. Alex Gillen coming is out of the car at Haas. Mitchy Hoyer steps in, and we've got Matty D13 also out at Haas with Ethan Woody stepping in. So a few lineup changes as well coming in tonight, Hayden. Obviously, I think some of the biggest news really is the two championship front runners, El Rey and Alex Gillen, out of tonight's race, which provides a huge opportunity for Tiamat Marduk.
Tiamat Marduk and Tom 97, and I want to touch upon Tiamat Marduk, who's also close to achieving 1,000 points in Creator Series, which is obviously the highest at the moment of any driver, and he will be the first to reach that 1,000 point mark if he can do that today. Only needs 9 points to do that. We're currently on 991 right now, so he'll be not only wanting to achieve that, but also trying to get as many points as possible to capitalize on this weekend and where his championship rivals are away. I'm looking out for those two new drivers coming in. Ethan Woody, been a while since he's been in there, but driving from down under as well. Whilst we are at the circuit, we are on European servers, so his internet's going to be pinging about a little bit. It's going to be difficult for those drivers to drive around him. But Mitchy Hoyer, another driver who we haven't seen for a while now, but he has got some fantastic pace when he jumps onto this game, and we'll be looking to see what he can do at the front.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, at the end of the day, when we talk about Mitchy Hoyer, someone who has revelled in what he has done in single-seater racing, time on time, built up a solid fan base. Some of you might know him from the Formula Sim World Championship Series that has been running for multiple years. He has since stepped in to the Formula One side of things. Of course, we witnessed him over the last few seasons. Well, certainly the last season in itself was driving a Mercedes as well. But we're just watching Tiamat Marduk now, riding on board with the hometown hero, former race winner here around Melbourne as Noiguera goes to the top with the first 1:15 of the session, a 1:15.923. But Benjamin Daly back again in his familiar colours, Papaya McLaren this season. Of course, won the championship with Ferrari last campaign for Season 6, but he'll be looking to bring back that form that brought him to the top of the podium here at this very circuit in Season 2, Hayden.
Yep, riding on board with Tiamat Marduk. Last time he raced here was in Season 2. Who took victory at this circuit? It was, of course, Benjamin Daly. He'll be looking to do exactly that once again. Let's watch him, though, as he heads through the very tough chicane. It's nearly flat out through the first part of that corner, and he absolutely nails it. He's currently in a worrying position in this qualifying session, but will be needing to get that soft tyre to get himself near the top and give himself a little bit of breathing room as well. In towards the final section, almost flat through this corner as well. Onto the brakes. Don't let the car step out on you too much. Keep it nice and tight. Be careful on the throttle as you wind your way round the right-hander. DRS wide open and head down to the line. And what is the time going to be good enough for Tiamat Marduk? He crosses the line and it is into the 1:16s. Moves himself up into, I believe that is 6th position in this qualifying.
Yeah, only 3 thousandths behind Zafso, the current Inter's pole sitter, the one who's grabbed pole actually in this session. Tremendous effort on his part. We're just watching now some of the cars coming into the box as well. Ethan Woody being one of them as well. Only 2 cars that haven't yet set times. The Ferrari of Infratic, Tom 97 hasn't either. M-Sky Z also coming into the box. You can see it's red on the track map in the bottom right-hand corner, suggesting that, of course, he has invalidated his prior lap time. But we do have a couple of other drivers now popping up through. Meraki going 7th fastest. in this immediate. Lolinoba now coming through the final sector alike as he now looks to brush through turns 11, turns 12 coming up very shortly as well. Then final left-hander to come after this before he then ventures around yet another right. But the big question is, will he be coming into box? Yes, he will. Certainly won't be completing this lap. But nonetheless, we're seeing some new names hit the front end. Great to see GB68 firing on all cylinders in the top 4. But at this point, here in the opening stages of qualifying, it is currently Noiguera and Unstop Rob. Mercedes, the dominant force here in Australia so far.
Yeah, Zafso also thinking that he is going to be safe in this qualifying session, decides that's enough for now, and he is going to take his time, just saving that set of tyres. He's saving a set of softs ready for Q2 and Q3 to see what they can do through that. We're riding on board with Meraki, who absolutely flies over the chicane there. He's going to be coming into the pits, invalidating, get himself back into the pit lane and get ready for those final runs in qualifying. At the back of the grid, though, Tom97, as you say, still yet to set a lap time. And this is something that we see often from Tom97. Doesn't take qualifying too seriously all of the time, but now that maybe a championship is on the cards and your 2 championship contenders are not taking part, this is a great opportunity to put yourself near the front and give yourself a great opportunity to, of course, bring yourself back into the championship fight as well. So we've got some team radio from Meraki, and he believes that they might see some rain at the end of the session. That's definitely going to spice things up, and I can see it on our telemetry as well. And yes, there is a little bit of rain potentially at the end of Q2 and at the end of Q3 as well.
Yeah, and the line for it is just bolstered upwards as well, so we could see it fairly soon-ish. We'll have to keep you posted on that, folks. At the moment, though, still relatively dry. Well, it is perfectly dry out on track. The cloud cover, not so bad at this point. Noguera, though, retiring from the session, obviously feeling that he's done everything he needs to do, but Tom97 now heading up towards the line to commence his flying lap. Of course, a long-term Chelsea Football Club fan, and has managed to enlist himself 3 different race wins already this campaign. One of the most successful drivers in terms of number of race wins here this season, and he'll be hoping that he can score more Ws than what Chelsea have done over the last 12 months, that's for sure. But driving a blue car nonetheless, and he'll be hoping to place his blue car up at the very top as he now comes around turn 4 and then down in towards turns 5 and 6. Yellow flags raised, but nothing to be too concerned about at this stage. So we did see some gravel from the gravel trap flicked up there as he made his way through the very far section. Now coming through this next right and left, he's going to actually get a very useful tow off his teammate Peya, who sits 5th fastest at this stage. Now Tom97, we all are aware of his pace. Fairly recently, he was competing at the highest level in league racing, AOR. He was a Tier 1 race winner. Of course, taking part in WR as well, where, of course, he won league races up at the top flight as well, really making a mark for himself, but now sort of turning his attention more to the content side, and has certainly delivered here in the Creator Series, that's for sure. Coming through the final corners now to turn 13 and 14, up towards the line now for Tom Martinez. Tom97, will it be from the bottom to the top? Not quite, only enough for 8th fastest with a 1:16.527.
A good lap, though, there from Tom97, and I think something that could put him safe. If that rain is on the way in this Q1 session, then these guys need to get a move on in qualifying if they want to bring themselves into safety. So who's in that drop zone? Who's in danger? It's Ethan Woody at the moment. Lolinoba, who's making his 2nd race in the F1 series, obviously dominating in F2, getting that promotion early as Sky Z has retired. Is that out on track? Because he's not safe.
Mr. Dale.
Not safe as Skyzy. Mr. Dale is currently in that drop zone as well. Hoodie Pete in there too, and so is Mitchie Hoyer. But Skyzy right on those fringes and out of this session, as is Ethan Woody. Is it raining out on track? Has the track fallen away from these drivers and they're not setting faster lap times because they are dropping like flies?
Yeah, and not only that, he receives a 5-place grid penalty, does Mr. Dale, as Lolinoba goes 4th fastest. Now, Dale collided, apparently, with M Sky Z. So was there some dramatic contact had between the 2 drivers? It wouldn't be the first time we've seen it. So we could have yet seen something again, this time at Australia. Obviously, Dale now has got to suffer the consequences. A 5-place grid penalty going into the race later on. Arseno now coming through the final corner in the Alpine. Of course, stepping in for Tom, the ambassador for Alpine itself, coming across the line, only enough to jump up 1 place, relegating Infratic into 15th.
Yeah, I'm not too sure that penalty is going to affect Mr. Dale that much. He's currently right down in 19th position. There's only a minute and a half remaining in this session. Not enough time, I don't think, for him to get back out on track and set a lap. So Mr. Dale will be starting one place lower than his current qualifying place, and that is down into P20. M-Skies here apparently went into Dale, who was sat in the middle of the track. We have got TK on the clip book, and he, I'm sure, will be bringing us a clip in between Q1 and Q2. So let's turn our attention back to the rain on track. Who is in danger? But there is the rain, as you can see, and I think that is why some of those drivers did call it a day. Ethan Woody was not improving. The rain was coming down. Mitchy Hoyer will not improve either. Skysy's out, and Emphatic right on the fringes, but will make it into Q2.
Yeah. Certainly could do. Mitchy Hoyer looking for one last chance to dance, but in these conditions, it surely can't happen for him. It's going to be a devastating return for Haas. It's going to be a devastating return for both Mitchy Hoyer and Ethan Woody, who sits right at the bottom. Mitchy Hoyer will be bailing out, and yes, he'll certainly bail out coming out of turns 1 and turns 2. I'm sorry for the curse there, Mitchy Hoyer, but I get the feeling that the slick weather might have had something to do with it. Emphatic in 15th place must be counting his lucky stars, Hayden.
Yeah, he's had a bit of unluck, a bit of bad luck so far in the Creative Series. Or his quote was, "Why always me?" as he's getting very close to his teammate, Razin Shai there. But both of them are bringing the cars home. They will be progressing into Q2. And Fabio had a bit of bad luck yesterday as he took part in the F2 race as well. Although I did absolutely school him down in towards turn 3. So if you want to get a clip from that, then feel free. They've come together, the two Ferrari drivers. They want to be careful because they could easily give each other a 5-place grid penalty if they start mucking about doing things like that. I think they both got away with it. But someone like Razin, who is fighting nearer the front in his qualifying session, doesn't want to pick up stupid 5-place grid penalties like that. And he's out on track at the moment. Why is he wasting a set of tyres? Stay in the pit lane, keep your tyres fresh, go again for Q2 and Q3.
Well, he has taken the checkered flag. There are currently no active cars really out on track. So we are currently watching the time tick to 0. But I think briefly, for the time being, let's fly over to TK Clips. Of course, we haven't introduced him yet. TK, tell us the story.
Well, it's a tale of two halves in this initial qualifying session. You can see on your screen at the moment, M-Skies will run through this as we continue. We saw him in the barrier in the last sector, and this is what caused it. You can see, comes around the corner, Dale in the middle of the track, and that front right tyre completely removed. However, there is a twist in all good stories, and there is one here this afternoon. We'll ride on board with Mr. Dale and watch crucially for that Ferrari in front of him. This is going to cause him some headaches, and of course, it sets up what is about to happen to M-Skies. It's a clip on the curve. Mr. Dale's into the barrier, loses the front wing for himself, and then watch this crucially. Couple of seconds go by. It's a reset to track by Mr. Dale, and that is what puts him right in the middle of the circuit.
Naughty. That's why we don't reset to track.
Oh dear. Thank you, TK. As always, really much appreciated. Definitely some fireworks out there, Hayden, and it's about to get worse because the rain is getting harder. So we witnessed it towards the very end of the session. We've seen a few casualties as a result of this deluge, but we're down to 15, and these drivers are now going to be thinking about utilising the intermediate tyres at this point.
Yeah, but the rain is only going to get worse as well. Stormy conditions potentially on the way too. So these guys are going to want to get out on track as soon as possible on the intermediate tyres. But you've also got to judge it well. Because if you go a little bit too late on those inters and it's getting worse for obviously full wet tyre conditions, you're going to lose a lot of track time. Whereas if you think, do you know what, actually, it's going to go to wets by the time that I complete a lap and start my lap on the inters, I might as well be on wet tyres. And I've got the best possible track conditions for the wet tyres, that when the others that make that mistake go out on a set of wet tyres later on, they're going to be slower. So let's see how this works out. GB, though, is taking that gamble. He's going for inters, thinks that they are the right tyres for the track at the moment, and let's see if it pays off for them.
Well, if the conditions are going to get worse, then, like you so rightly said, I mean, we could see some of the drivers donning those inters go for that risky run right at the start and see if you can maximise on the better conditions very early into Q2. It's going to be a huge mission, though, for every single driver out there, though. GB68 still chasing a first win in the Creator Series. And I must say, we were discussing it whilst off air prior to going live here tonight. If he could achieve something here tonight, it would be historical. We even mentioned national holidays in the name of GB68. Who knows? We'll wait and see. But the mean green Aston Martin now makes his way. Just look at that big fat zero in the wins column.
Big?
That is
Why
outrageous
so
to whoever
big?
manages our graphics down below. Violation of GB68, everybody. An adopted Welshman as well. I feel so bad for him. I'm feeling patriotic here, Hayden, as we now watch GB come through the final sector. The problem is, though, he has got a giant red invalidation in his bottom track map, but it won't concern him on this outlap.
Yeah, he'll be hoping that the rain stays away for the race later on, because he's been struggling in the wet conditions, just struggles to find the grip in the wets. Very strong in the dry, but in the wets there's nothing. There's team radio from Raz and Shai. Ferrari Masterclass incoming, and I hope it's something different to what they were doing at the end of Q1, because that was not a masterclass. That was a
We can only hope.
But GB68 starting his lap on the intermediate tyres, and let's see what he can do. Really drifting the car, and that's what you got to do on this F1 24 game in the wet conditions. You've got to be able to control the car and drift it through the corners. It's got to be driving on a knife's edge, and if you don't drive like that, you're going to be slow. But if you go too much, you're going to lose the car, and you're out, and you've got no lap time. So it's about those fine margins, and that's what we're going to be seeing in this qualifying session. GB nice and tidy, and this is one of my favorite corners around this circuit, because it just drops down. You use the camber to carry the speed through the corner, but it's such a crucial corner around this circuit, because what follows is a long, winding, flat-out section. The car drifts out to the left-hand side. You just try and get on the power, but unfortunately, you just will lose the rear end slightly if you try and take that line tighter like you do in the dry. Now in towards this chicane. Nearly flat and dry, definitely not in wet conditions, but GB68 managing that corner well. You want to really attack the curbing through the last part, though. Really ride over the corner, cut it as much as you can possibly get away with, and then use all the exit curb on the outside. Terrible, horrible corner in towards this tight hairpin. So difficult to get right, but GB drifts the car beautifully around there. Now a couple of corners left to go, but they're difficult ones. Hard on the brakes, use all the track on the right-hand side, drift the corner through the left, then get back on the throttle as the car just squirms away from you through the final turn, back on the throttle, down to the line, and was the time going to be good enough for GB68? Comes across the line, it's a 1:29.1, and he's our first lap time, so he puts it to the top.
Yeah, quite a difference between the 115, the late 115s we were seeing at the top of the timing screen earlier on in Q1. Zafso going to the top with a 128.762. We then have Adam Sanderson coming across the line as well. Noiguera going back into second. GB68 relegated to third. Team radio from GB saying very slow lap. And I would be inclined to agree with him in many ways. Adam Sanderson only managing to register a 129.904 and stop Rob just behind him in ninth place. Fabio in Fratic also to set his flying lap as well. Has got his teammates in tow, Racing Chai, so the two Ferraris will cross together, but very twitchy, I have to say, from Fabio coming through the final two bends now, turn 13 and 14. There is a McLaren in behind. That's not Razin. I'm just trying to peek through the misty rain conditions that we have here at Melbourne, but down towards the line they will go. Where's Fabio going to go? 10th place in the immediate, but just losing the car towards the tail end might be a sign here, Hayden, that it's the end of the inters and time for the wets.
Yeah, it might possibly be. I'm not too sure on what the crossover time is. So I think it might be worth for a few of these drivers just to get on a set of wet tyres and just see. Because if they go onto the wets and they're into the 129s, then that gives them a better chance, of course, to get through to this session. I think for someone like Zafso, being on those intermediate tyres, setting his time at the right time, I think he's done a good job. But for everybody else now on the inters, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. Is Punju on the wet tyres there, I believe? I believe he might be through this. No, he's on the green tyres. He's on the intermediates. I thought potentially he might have been taking that risk on the wets. But Punju on the inters through the final couple of turns now. And this will be a good indication. I know Punju's more or less nearer the backer end of the field, but if he's massively off the pace here, then we know it's time for the wet tyres. And he's a 31, which is massively off the pace of even Peya. So I think that this is definitely time for full wet tyres. And it'll be interesting for someone like Punju whether he can go to wets and maybe actually be slightly quicker. Raz and Shai might have left this a little bit too late as well, and could be someone massively in danger. If those wets aren't quicker and the track is getting worse over this session, everybody in the bottom 5, pretty much day done for you, because there's no chance, if these track conditions aren't getting better or the wets aren't better, you're pretty much out of it.
Yeah, you are absolutely right indeed. Rasin Chai heading across the line to complete his first flying lap. Only enough for 13th fastest. I'd say we're definitely in wet condition territory. Ferrari might have shot themselves in the foot here, going so late as they did. Obviously, now the conditions are getting
What happened
worse.
to the
We are
Ferrari
aware that the
masterclass,
store.
they said?
Well, I don't think we're going to
Where's
see a
this Ferrari
masterclass.
masterclass?
There is no Ferrari masterclass at this point, I can tell you that much. Now, what I will say is that the car's currently sat in fourth. That's Meraki holding personal best. He holds the fastest sector in Sector 1 with a 30.918. That's purple. 38.320 for GB in Sector 3 alike. So it's starting to get a little bit more condensed up at the top. But Zafso holding all the cards and seems to be running very strongly up at the top, even despite the damp weather here around the very slick surface, the asphalt surface here at Australia. Peya, who's currently sat in the bottom 5 here in this top 15 battle to try and break into Q3. He's rising through the very fast left and right and will then beckon his way into Sector 3 proper. And he now has a series of corners, some dogged 90-degree right-handers to take before then venturing into another left-hander. The Visa RB Cash App car now venturing its way through the remaining sections. The tail just going outwards now as he looks to fight the car, looking to break out of the bottom 5. He's P12 for now, but runs wide onto the grass. And surely that's going to bring an end to that lap time. Surely there will not be an improvement for Peya. And I must say, it's definitely looking like wet tyre conditions out there right now.
Yeah, that guy Vincent on the full wets. He's the first driver to take that gamble. Not on a lap at the moment. This is an out lap. So let's get an indication on whether these wet tyres are going to be not only better under the right conditions for now, but also maybe better than the lap time set by that lower end of the field. Someone like Rasin Shai, I think maybe potentially could put on a set of wet tyres and who knows, maybe set a fast off lap time just to scrape into that Q3 session. It's going to need to do it. It needs to do whatever he can now to get into the next session. But here is that guy, Vince. He's on the full wets and let's see if this is going to be the right time. What do we think, George? Full wet tyres? Is it going to be the right tyre or is it just going to be job done for those who were a little bit too late?
I think it's going to be job done. I think mainly for definitely those well within the top 10. I think if you're on the 130s bubble, there might be an opportunity, but we'll have to wait and see. That guy Vince, not him. Well, it's going to be tough for him to improve, I think, from P7, but we'll soon see. Given the conditions, though, are as they are, many of the drivers were featuring their inters laps, as the rain, I would suggest, got into wet tyre territory. So I would say it's a fine line. Well, we'll wait and see. But the Red Bull coming through the next right-hander now, venturing down into the very fast chicane. As I said, rights and lefts to take once more. Very flat surface here at Australia. Certainly no undulation of street circuit. Of course, 11 years of Adelaide, then followed up with Melbourne being introduced back in 1996. And that guy Vince looking to try and drag the Red Bull higher up in this Q2 session, maybe trying to elevate himself in amongst the likes of the Mercedes and the Aston Martin. Though I must say, cutting the chicane like that is going to cause you some problems, and backing out with a invalidation, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner on the track map.
Yeah, he was about a second down through Sector 1, and I just don't think that those wet tyres are even better for him. I mean, he's in the 129s already. Here's Adam Sanderson. We never made it Q3 in Create Series before, only 11th. And if we look at him in his current position,
looks comfortable.
There. He is in P9 at the moment. And if track conditions don't improve, then things are looking good. But he's on that bubble, and I would like to see someone like Perya, maybe someone like Rasin Shai on those wet tyres. Would it be quicker for them? But also, if we look at our weather radar, it's saying light rain in 4 minutes. The track conditions are going to get better. So take that gamble. That last minute, be the last person across the line to start a lap. Go on those intermediate tyres and just see what you can do. And I think, you know, the ability that someone like Rasin Shai or Perya has might just be enough to put them safe and into Q3.
It might be wise. I mean, if you like Perya, just fill the car up with a little bit more fuel for maybe 2 fast runs and run it twice, because you can generally get away with that over, you know, wet tyre condition scenarios. You know, it's a little different to the dry. In fact, I would say vastly different to dry conditions in that instance. So
it's about building the rhythm in the wet conditions.
Absolutely.
You've got to build that rhythm up. You've got to just lap after lap after lap, find where the grip is.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially seeing as the conditions are starting to, should we say, they'll lessen as far as we believe in accordance to the radars. You know, try and prepare yourself for those final few runs, and therefore, like you say, generate that momentum, find the pace around the track. And you'll see then the dry line starting to form up as we now watch Lolin Ober, 8th fastest, a 129.786. I would say you know, for an initial first visit in the Kick Sauber, this has been a good visit for Lolinoba.
Yeah, he performed very well in the last round in Belgium. A few mistakes here or there, but that's going to come with the F1. It's a different kettle of fish compared to F2. F2, as we've seen multiple drives, myself, Unstopped Rob, Dale, perform so well in the F2 series. Then you go to F1 and you find out pretty quickly the caliber of drivers that are in there. But I think Lolinoba is someone special, and I do think that he has got some incredible pace that these guys do need to watch out for in the latter stages of the season. But he needs to figure out how these drivers drive, how to drive in a style that is not compromising your race and being aggressive. Figure out when to go on the attack, when to go on the defense, when to just give up that position and sit back in the slipstream. But I think once he figures that out, he is going to be a force to be reckoned with. In that Kick Sauber car, things are looking good for him at the moment. He's making it through into Q3, currently 8th in the standings, but this is going to be an indicator. Is it time to be back on those intermediate tyres, and are they going to start to be working? Was Lolinoba done with fuel? Has he fueled up the car? Is he going to go for lap after lap, building up that rhythm? This is where we're going to find out now for Lolinoba. There's a car exiting the pit lane that might just get in the way, but I think they're going to just about clear. He was slightly wide of the apex, slid through turn 1, but was able to catch the car and not invalidate through turn 2. There's a car ahead of him, but I think Lolinoba is slowing the car down, and he's building it up for the next lap.
Certainly is. Yeah, certainly not an ideal run. I think he knew after coming through turns 1 and turns 2 that perhaps he got it a little bit wrong, and therefore it's held him up somewhat. Unstopped Rob, though, coming through that segment, and he looked certainly dialed in that first instance coming through turns 1 and turns 2 on a fresh set of intermediate tyres, and looking to lofty himself from P10 upwards. He's on the bubble currently of elimination, and has got a stack of cars in behind that are certainly capable of breaking above him. I'm looking at the likes of Razin Shai, for example, who is a former champion, as we now keep our eyes peeled on the Mercedes as it now darts through, and I can say he's purple in the first sector, Hayden. A 30.886 is certainly looking special.
Clearing
so there
up.
is time still available here for the drivers in the closing stages here of Q2, and this would be a sensational run by F2 champion Unstopped Rob, as he looks to now curtsy his way through the left and right. Needs to keep dialed in, can't afford to lose the car. These curbs are so treacherous when slick. Very easy to allow the rubber to spin on the rear tyres, and therefore sacrifice all momentum here at a very dangerous point in qualifying. Coming through a right-hander again at turn 11. 12 and 13 to come, which will tee up a run in towards turn 14. This is a very heavy braking zone. Avoid the grass at all costs, and he certainly has done. This has been exceptional from Unstopped Rob. This lap could be stellar. Once again, on rails, coming out of the final corner as he now makes his way up towards the line here at Melbourne Park. Goes fastest with a 1:27.846. Blast past Safsu, who held the lead in Q2 for such a long time. From 10th to 1st. You can't stop him. He's unstoppable. Unstopped Rob.
Track getting quicker. Certainly at the moment, we can see that now of Unstopped Rob going to the top, and that was important for him. But now he's got to sit and he's got to watch and wait because he doesn't have enough battery and there's not enough time to build the car back up to go for another lap. Here's GB68 on his last lap in his qualifying session through the tricky hairpin and then in towards sector 3 on the throttle. Let the car dance round this section of the circuit. There's a couple of cars in the way. Will they hold him up? They're right on the apex. The McLaren. Is that Punju? Is it Tiamat Marduk? GB68 won't care, will be furious at whoever it is. DRS obviously not activated, but will pick up the slipstream of the McLaren going down in towards the start-finish line. It is a 1:27, and it was Tiamat Marduk getting in the way of GB68. But he puts himself into second position, but will that be enough? Someone that is going fastest, Lolinoba, purple in Sector 1. But here is Perya round the final corner, George. What can he do?
Well, you never know. He could elevate himself, and Lolinoba's invalidated. Peya, though, goes fastest with a 1:27.759. There is still improvements out there on track. Noiguera has just gone fastest in the first sector with a 30.340. Personal bests lighting up across this grid, including Zafso, who has just registered a purple second sector. He's gone 2 tenths quicker of the realm, or should I say, more like 1.5 tenths faster than Unstopped Rob. But now Noiguera has stolen that purple second sector away, and it's just been stolen in kind by Tom97. This is a thrill ride ending of a qualifying session. We're coming into the final stages of this Q2 session here at this point, and Noiguera trying to ask the major questions, as is Meraki, who's joining the fold. He's gone fastest in the first sector, so it's all eyes on 6th, 7th and 8th as now Noiguera comes around the final bend. Zafso retakes P1, but I don't think it'll be for long, because here comes the Mercedes Mercedes. Noiguera answering back his 1 lap pace, sensational again. A 1:26.2 as now Tim Marduk comes up towards the line. Tom 97 second fastest. Tim Marduk reigning champion, 3rd fastest here in Q2.
GB68 on the bubble at the moment, could be in danger here. That getting held up by Tiamat Marduk might cost him, and he is currently in 10th position. No, he's out. He's down in 11th place. Adam Sanderson on the fringes of finally making it into Q3. Can Infratic stop that? No, instead it's somebody out. Infratic does make it through into Q3. I believe he does. Yes, into P6. And it was all about being the last driver across the line. And that's what I said earlier on. And it was Infratic that did it. Nogueira in P1, Perya P2, Meraki 3rd in that qualifying session. Great stuff right at the end, kept us tense, and unfortunately there for Adam Sanderson, it's no Q3. The hunt for Q3 continues. Who knows, maybe it'll come this season.
The one thing I will say, it definitely wasn't a Ferrari masterclass because Fabio knocked his teammate out of qualifying. He eliminated Racing Chai, who was in the top 10 until he came along, but Noiguera, the fastest. 2 Portuguese drivers up at the very top with Perya sat in 2nd, Meraki in 3rd, Tom 97 4th, Tim Marduk in 5th. That rounds out your top 5. But in the meantime, folks, let's have a little bit more analysis. Let's head across to the man with a plan. TK, show us your clips.
Well, we've been having a look behind the scenes. Gosh damn it, George. You make me chuckle every time you hand over. But GB, more importantly, went purple through Sector 1. You can see that in the top right-hand side of his screen. But more importantly, in front of him is Tiamat Marduk, a.k.a. Ben Daly. And it's through these final couple of corners. They absolutely park it on the apexes. And a rather frustrated GB to boot, which causes him to go out of Q2 here. Of course, not getting through to the final qualifying session.
Fantastic. I mean, it was a climax of an ending, wasn't it? We had so many different drivers, Hayden, up at the very end. Track generation. That's what that was all about. We did mention that, of course, the track was improving as time went on. We saw the rain lessen, and as it did, the dry line started to show. Those drivers that went out on fresh inters towards the very bitter end, all of a sudden, it was purple, purple, purple after every single lap until eventually we got down to the final echelons. But I must say, a great effort from Noiguera, who I must say, 1 lap pace, he's extremely dangerous.
Yeah, he's been incredible in qualifying over this season, but also in previous seasons. Nogueira's always been one of the fastest over 1 lap. In previous seasons, he's been let down by his race pace and the consistency. He'd always make those small little errors here or there, and it would cost him in those crucial moments. But this season, he's been able to get on top of those, and he's not been making as many mistakes. Still not quite perfect, as we've seen maybe Elray perform so far this season, but something he'll need to be getting on top of. But if you want to pick for pole position, Nogueira is definitely somebody who I would put a few pennies on as well. And Fratic, though, here is his team radio. We out-qualified people. We shouldn't have a massive W. So that is, I mean, it's a strong performance there from Fabio up into P6. And, you know, it's all about timing. And you've got to time it so well. Even if you don't feel like you've got the pace compared to maybe some of the other drivers, if you get the timing right, you've got the best track conditions and it gives you the best opportunity to overtake them. And Fabio certainly did that.
Certainly did, and there might be discussions later on at Alpine over Tom's position right now because Arsenault, his replacement, has managed to secure a Q3 place. So sit tight, everybody. Alpine looking very strong with Zafso as well at the top of the timing sheet as we're seeing. Obviously, no times registered at this stage. Tiamat Marduk, though, coming straight back into the box. Obviously aware that we're no longer in intermediate conditions. We're now going to be moving into dries very shortly, no less, as now we watch Meraki make his way through the left and right. Obviously, no consideration of track limits. Very little has changed there as far as he's concerned. We're now going to await Tom 97 to come round as well. I can only imagine that these are going to be installation laps, though, in the meantime, because this track is going to heat up. So perhaps the drivers just getting their eye in for the final session here, Hayden?
Yeah, maybe Tom 97, he's got a bit of a short memory. He forgets this layout of the track, so just needs to do it as much as possible to remind himself where he's going. We would hate for him to head into the next corner and turn left, because that's not the direction that it goes. But Tom 97, looking good so far in this qualifying session, up into P3, of course, into Q3. Of course, he is in that championship fight, and he is the hunter. Not being the hunted, but the hunter. And that's a good place to be, because it means that even if you make errors, you're out of the championship fight anyway. So of course he is in that championship fight, but it's better to be in that position where you're hunting. There's less pressure on you as well. But of course, this is a crucial weekend for both him and Team at Marduk. They're both doing what they need to do at the moment to get into Q3, put themselves in that best position to score as many points as possible to overtake their rivals. Zafso currently on a lap and one of our first drivers, I believe, on the dry tyres as well. So let's see what Zafso can do. No, he's not. He's on inters. Pardon me. I am blind. George, we both need glasses. I'm wearing glasses and they're clearly not working.
We need to get some bifocals for you, I think, Hayden. We're now watching as DRS gets enabled, so we're now in the realms of dry conditions now this time, which is, I suppose, good news to a certain extent for Zafso, though I will say this, even regardless if he sets this lap on intermediate rubber, they're going to need the soft tyres, as now the point has been proven with Noiguera. He's got the soft red banded rubber on. He's just invalidated, however, but did briefly land a purple first sector in fourth place. So at the moment, as you can see, Meraki, as Zafso goes fastest, Meraki's just stolen the second sector purple time with an 18.5 and now goes to the top and sets a purple final sector as well. So Meraki in rude health right now, setting his time on intermediate tyres. And between the two intermediate tyre lap times, Meraki was 1.2 seconds faster than Zafso. That is extraordinary, even in this current stage. I would say more so in this current stage, considering we are in dry conditions here, Hayden.
We certainly are. So the times are going to be ramping up in this qualifying session, and we're going to be, I guess, getting back towards those lower times of the 1:15s, I believe, that we saw in Q1. So that's what we'll be expecting later on in this qualifying session. We're watching Acerno through the final couple of corners now, and he's bailing out of this lap, coming back into the pit lane. So track conditions, maybe not quite perfect yet at the moment, but they're just getting that eye in for the time being to get themselves ready for the final few laps. As we're riding on board now with Team at Marduk, they're now on soft tyres and they head down in towards turn 3, riding the inside curb. Don't touch the red part though, because it is going to unsettle your car. Flow your way nice and tidy through that left and right, and then heading into what I said earlier, my favourite section of the corners, and now we get to see it in the dry. Let the car drop down to the right, attack as much curb as you possibly can, almost driving onto the grass, but it's the best way to carry as much speed through that corner, and then you keep it nice and tight on the winding straight all the way to minimize the distance in towards the next braking zone. Heading now down in towards the fast left-right chicane, onto the brakes just a little bit, but throw the car in nice and tidy, use all the curb on the exit, and that is a good lap so far from Team at Marduk. Looking good to put himself near the top, but of course don't expect this lap time to be the fastest as the track continues to ramp up.
Yeah, purple in the first two sectors, so a very good start here from the Wonder from Down Under. Yet to secure a single pole position so far this season. He's watched his rivals manage to achieve it. El Guri has done it twice. Alex Gillen has done it once. He did it last time, did Alex Gillen, in round 8 at Spa. Now this time Tim at Marduk would like to level up alongside his competitor and manages to go to the top in the immediate with a 1:20.117. We will expect those times to improve as the session goes on. Very early days at this stage. Unstop Rob has just registered a purple first sector and has stolen it off Team at Marduk. So now we're seeing the times coming in thick and fast. You can bet your bottom dollar that those that set times on the intermediate tyres not too long ago will now be considering jumping onto the softs. But what's really alarming to me, Hayden, the time gap in between Zafso and Team at Marduk. Of course, Zafso setting a 1:21.973 on intermediate rubber. Team at Marduk a 1:20.117 on softs. That doesn't seem like an awful lot of difference.
Yeah, not a great time from Ben, but I imagine that's also down to the track just getting better and better. We're not quite at those ideal dry conditions just yet, and these drivers are going to be finding those. That's why, again, it's all about crossing the line, literally being the last driver to cross the line as it goes to 0 and setting your lap time to give yourself the best track possible. Unstop Rob bailing out that lap again, just thinking, we're not going to go for it yet. We're going to come back into pits, new set of tyres, be the last one across the line. Here's that guy Vince, though, on the soft tyres. What can they do? Currently no time on the board at the moment. We've only got lap times from Team at Marduk, Zafso, and Meraki, and they're all very, very different from each other. 2 seconds between each of those drivers, or 4 seconds total. But here comes that guy Vince round the final corner. He is going to set a lap time on the softs, as does Infratic, puts himself to the top of the board. Can it be topped by that guy Vince? And yes, it can. And these lap times are getting better, into the 1:17s now from that guy Vince. And I'm sure we're going to be getting lower and lower into the final moments of this qualifying.
Yep, the two RBs also improving, both of them holding purple sectors as well. Pay goes to the top, Tom 97 in stereo from the V-Carbs as they now go 1 and 2 ahead of the sister Red Bull team car of that guy Vince, who's now relegated down to third. Fabio is the president of the fraudulent nation. It's outrageous. Was that guy Vince with that team radio message?
No, that was Punju. That was Punju. Punju's out.
Wow. Good Lord, firing shots left, right and centre, but incredible. Great work from the RB team. Payer and Tom 97 up at the top. Infratic getting it all wrong a little bit, getting all squirrely, coming out to the very fast right and left, but still valid at this point. Holding a purple first sector as well with a 26.680. And I can tell you that at this stage is actually a good degree faster than what the V-Carbs were not too long ago. Invalidations on hand here for that guy Vincent, Tom 97, though I'd imagine they're on in-laps. But Fabio opting to come into the pits. Obviously not happy. Obviously must have lost a little bit of time coming out of the chicane in Sector 2 in towards Sector 3. But what a display from Payer and Tom 97. Still just under 3 minutes to go. They're in charge right now. And I'm sure very shortly we'll see them come out once again on a fresh set of tyres before the end of the session. But key to note, no movements yet from the Mercedes team and also from Arsenault, the Alpine driver.
Yeah, I feel like if you're confident in your ability and you don't need those cycle laps to get yourself back dialed into these dry conditions, then you have that luxury just to be like, okay, I'm going to save as many tyres as I possibly can. And the track's only going to be best at the end of the session. So no matter what these lap times that Tom 97 and Perrier have done, yeah, okay, they're really good. They're up in first and second. And you've got that banker lap, of course. But the lap times are going to be quicker. That's not going to be the pole position lap time. So regardless of setting those lap times and being at the front, you are going to get topped. So it is all about these final laps and being the last ones to cross the line. The first people out on track, though, is down the bottom, Unstop Rob and Arsenault. They're out on track, but are they going to slow it down? Because, again, we don't want them to cross the line with 1:20 still to go, and that's what Unstop Rob did last time, and that was the mistake that he nearly made, was setting that lap so late on in the Q2 that it put himself in the danger zone. He didn't have the best of those track conditions. He needs to try and slow this car down, cross the line with about 5 seconds remaining, and then you have the best track available to you, and you can set your best time.
Yeah, all the cars now bailing out of the pits now, so it is now, well, it's going to be a real fast finish to decide who's going to take pole for this Australian Grand Prix in the F1 Creator Series. Be sure to join the conversation as well, folks, on social media. Hashtag F1 Creator Series. And don't forget to check out the channels as well. Be part, join the conversation, and join with us as well in the live chats alike. If you're tuned in on Twitch or YouTube, big hello to each and every single one of you as we now ride on board with Arsenault. Let us know as well in the live chat as to who you think is going to take pole in this Q3 session. We've only got 1 minute to go, and it's ticking as of now. Arsenault crossing the line as we drop below the final minutes, as we now see him make his way through turns 1 and 2, viciously committed, coming through out of turn 2 down towards turn 3. It's quite a long stretch with the DRS opened up. He'll then make his way through this next right-hander, dogged as it is, over 90 degrees in terms of the angle that presents yourself, and certainly for the Alpine alike, as he bursts through this next right-hander out of turn 5 and now in towards turn 6 and 7. He is now part of Sector 2, and he's registered purple in Sector 1 at 26.5, blasts away many of his competitors further up. I can tell you that the V-Carbs up at the top are currently sitting beyond 26.7s, 26.9s even. So there's an opportunity here for Arsenault as Unstop Rob takes his purple first sector away. A 17.5 tenth of a second split in the second sector looks good for Arsenault at this point. At this rate, his one and only lap in this qualifying session in Q3 could yet grant him pole position, but hold the phone. Zapso's gone fastest in the first sector as well alike. The Alpine now coming through the final couple of bends now. Arsenault is going to set this timing screen alight, at least for now. Coming up towards the line, the Alpine, will it ascend? It certainly will. The 1:16.4s, but we have seen 15s, Hayden. Take us through.
Yep, Unstop Rob currently seeing what he can do throughout the final corner. Can he put himself onto the top? Purple momentarily in the first few sectors, and yes, he does, up to the top of the timing screens. Perrier did not make the line, so he is not going to improve in this qualifying session. Round the final corner now is Zapso. He'll come to the line. What can they do? And it is into P2, so not quite pole position away from Unstop Rob. Who else is next to cross the line? They're all going to start flooding through now. It's Infratic in the Ferrari. Can he go to the top? What can he do? No, it's only third fastest.
Commended performance, though, from Infratic as Noiguera with his 1 lap pace goes to the top. Mercedes 1 and 2 now as Rob is relegated to second, and a collision with Tiamat Marduk for Meraki. That's going to be a 5-place grid penalty. Heartbreak for Meraki now as they cross the line once more. Tiamat Marduk, the hero from season 2, the last time we visited Melbourne. He took victory and he's missing a front wing. I know that he's been practicing in soapbox racing, but definitely the practice has not come in handy this time around. I know you didn't have a front wing on your soapbox car there, Ben, but here this time you might need it in Formula 1 cars. 9th fastest for the Papaya McLaren. Noiguera, though, a scintillating performance for Mercedes. It's a 1-3 with Tom 97 and his RB cutting them off in between.
I am really excited to find out what exactly has happened between Tiamat Marduk there and Meraki right at the end. Were they already invalidated and just messing about with each other, or did they get in the way of each other's hot laps? I know that we've got TK who is going to be getting those clips ready, so we'll be getting to them shortly. But our pole position driver, Nogueira, will be starting this race from the top with Tom 97 alongside on the front row.
Yeah. Amazing performance from Noiguera. It's not the first time we've seen him take poles. He has done it before, but he has done it once more at a very vital time. He's 5th in the championship coming into this weekend. Twice a podium sitter. The Portuguese driver sits for the 1:15.768, 64 thousandths clear of Tom 97 in second. Unstopped Rob in 3rd place, making it a Mercedes 1 and 3 with an Avzavso, Infratic, that guy Vince, Arseno, Peya, Tiamat Marduk, and Meraki, who's going to receive a 5-place grid penalty after the collision that we saw coming towards the tail end of qualifying, coming to blows with Tiamat Marduk. Now, if there's one man who can give us the scoops here in this sensational qualifying session, his name's Tonky Kong. Also, he's bringing us some TK clips. TK, give it to us.
Well, I will indeed. Before we head over to the Meraki clip, just very quickly, Tom 97 only made it to the line with seconds to spare, and this is what caused, you can see he's sat in the pits, the timer counting down. It's under 2 minutes at this point, and Persia is only just being wheeled in. He's ready to go, but unfortunately he couldn't quite get out, but he got out with enough time in the end. The one I want to take your performance to, though, is this Meraki incident. I'll tell you what, it was all the fault of the Williams car around the final couple of corners. It's a massive kick of oversteer for Meraki here. And look at this. He turns, faces 180, and the Australian coming straight at him.
Well, do you know what I think that is? That is an instant response to what happened at Spa-Francorchamps when Meraki robbed the title of Tiamat Marduk up at the top coming through towards Lake Com. Yes, we all remember it, Jake. We certainly do. Hayden,
I love that.
Your summary from that qualifying session. Once again, those 15s, they were far better than we saw in Q1, were they not?
Yeah, I mean, great qualifying session. I think there was always tense at the end. There's always the worry when the weather comes in that it ruins qualifying in a sense that you lose those final few laps in the qualifying session, and we didn't have that here, so that was good. Great running right at the end, fast lap times were coming, and I think we were very excited by that, and a great collision at the end there between Meraki and Tiamat Marduk, just getting in the way, and I would just want to see that reaction from Ben, because he would have been absolutely furious. He's got a championship on the line series, of course, the reigning champion. He'll be looking to try and cement that back once again. And he's got a great opportunity here today to catch up to El Rey and Alex Gillen. So something like that is going to really, really frustrate him starting down in P9. Whereas for GB, welcome back to the top 10, GB. He got knocked out in Q2, but that penalty is going to promote him alongside Tiamat Marduk.
Extraordinary, and being in that top 10 puts him in a great position to potentially, take a famous victory, the one that's been eluding him ever since the very first season of the F1 Creator Series. Could it be the day that suddenly the sun shines on the sister Aston Martin as opposed to his teammate El Rey Guri, who's been taking up all the plaudits lately? I mean, what an arc it has been for El Rey over the past season or so, coming from where he's been. Shown really no signs of winning, but as we now get set, ready to race here in Australia, all 5 lights are lit. And it's pedal to the metal. And it is go, 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 go. Great start for Noiguera. A little slow, though, from Tom 97. And Unstopped Rob is on the attack. The 2 Mercedes bidding to go 1 and 2. And they do. Noiguera leads. Unstopped Rob second. Tom 97 down in third. With Infratic in 4th place as well. That guy Vince coming into the fight. Arseno in jeopardy as they come through turn 3 this time. It's Silver Arrows up at the front. And they will cruise through as they venture through turn 3 with a sprinkling of cars further back, venturing through turn 4. Sapso up to 5th. Adam Sanderson on the rise up to P8, Aiden Gullis.
Great start from Alan Sanderson. Ethan Woody also got an amazing start to climb up a lot of positions, but then got caught up in a collision and has now dropped down to the back of the field. But from the front, it's Nogueira who leads, with Tom 97 in 3rd position, dropping down. But here comes an attack from Perya on Adam Sanderson.
Yep, certainly is. Wheel to wheel. Very minute gaps there. And Peya trying to force the issue. Coming through the next left and right. Wheel to wheel. They will stay. Bumping wheels as well. Venturing now. Timothy Marduk around the outside. 3 wide. Heading through this next right-hander at turn 11. But Timothy Marduk gets squeezed off. Not enough room for the Papaya McLaren. And that's only going to allow GB and Peya to carry on through as they venture into the final couple of corners here around this track on lap 1.
Yeah, that's not going to work for Team Marduk. You just can't go round the outside, especially 3 wide through that corner. 2 wide only just gets through nice and tight. Really pinches you on the inside of that hairpin. Team Marduk very ambitious to go round the outside. Amazing if you can pull it off, but very, very unlikely. And unfortunately, dropping down to 14th position. Here comes an attack though from Tom 97 on Unstopped Rob right around the outside. Can he make it? He's going to try. He's still got a nose on the inside. Slight contact between the Mercedes and the V-Carb, and the V-Carb has to settle behind the Mercedes for the time being. What this batting is allowing to do is Nogueira just to run away slightly in this race.
Yeah, and Stop Rob, of course, made headlines when he won the F2 championship in his very first season of Arskin. He then got promoted to F1 and is showing exactly why, defending that P2 against Tom 97, but this time it might be for naught. Here comes Martinez, the Chelsea football fan, now once again hits 2nd place this time around, the place that he had at the very start of the race until he had a very dogged getaway, but he's going to try and take down the sister Mercedes alike. Wheel to wheel coming through the next right once more. Nogueira in trouble, the man who harbours exceptional 1-lap pace. It won't help him in the race because Tom 97 has his number and he leads now here at Australia.
Yeah, Tom 97 shooting to the top. What a lap there from him. But now, is he going to be punished on the battery? Are these two behind just holding on to it a little bit? Or do they recognise the pace of Tom 97 and think, you know what, you go to the top and we're going to tow off you. We're going to follow you through and you're going to drive us away. As teammate Marduk earlier on that team radio, laughable how started was. And a virtual safety car has been deployed. And falling into the pit lane, Lolanoba, Michi Hoyer and Perya all taking that opportunity to get a pit stop. And it's a full course safety car. You sure?
According to the timing screen, we have got a safety car out on track. Now, whether the timing screen is right on our side or if it is the actual game, it might...
It's a VSC. It's a VSC.
Showing a VSC.
Yeah.
No safety car out on track, folks. Temporary VSC. We were getting a safety car alert on our timing screen. Do apologise, but we are in VSC conditions. Tom 97 still leads the way. Many of the cars now coming into box, picking this as an optimal time to make a change. Maybe switch up the strategies. If they've got damage, it's a good time to come in. Michi Hoyer being one of those drivers here at this stage as we now watch them come through the next left and right. Fabio, I must say, he's impressed me, Hayden. I have to say, I know it wasn't necessarily a masterclass in qualifying, but this hasn't been a bad start for the Scuderia.
No, he's been impressing in qualifying in recent weeks, and mainly in the starts of the races. He manages to find his way up there, but it's those middle stages of the race. I think it's the endurance for it, Fabio, that's where mentally he's just not quite there. He makes those small little errors, makes those mistakes, and then falls down the field. So be looking to get on top of that here today, not make those crucial errors and stay in those top positions, because for the places that he's been in these races, we're back under racing once again, and Fratic will be looking to go for an overtake. Hopefully not be put up against the wall like he was in F2 after a safety car restart yesterday. Don't know who did that. We'll move past it. But at the moment, it is Tom 97 who leads the way as we get running once again.
Absolutely right. Tom 97 now in control. He lost 1 place at the start. He's gained 2 on the run in towards lap 4, just prior to the VSC coming out, managing to topple Nogueira after Unstopped Rob in 1 solitary sector alone, as we now watch them cascade through this next right and left. Coming through turns 6 and 7. Then they'll reach Sector 2 proper and a run round turn 8. And now looking to open the door is Infratic as they look to go side by side now over 3rd place. Mercedes v Ferrari. Only this time, Fabio being forced to bail out of this one. Didn't quite have the line coming out of turn 8 in towards turns 9 and 10. But still, he'll have an opportunity should he use the power of DRS. As now Nogueira looks to come straight back at Tom 97, who won't have the benefits of DRS given the fact that he is in the lead of this race. Nogueira all over his tail, but there's quite a gulf in difference in terms of time between Arsino and GB68, though I will say GB68 seemingly, by the looks of it, closing that gap. He's just broken to back within a second, which is very important, Hayden, because it means now he can use that DRS and save the battery.
Yeah, certainly so. Another big gap down in the mid-pack of the field. Teammate Marduk, 7 seconds off the leader at the moment. That's a 3-second gap between him and Adam Sanderson. Now he's going to need to burn that battery, close back up to Adam Sanderson. We've got to change for the lead. It's Nogueira retaking the lead from Tom97. Now these two need to work together to break away from Unstopped Rob. But will Nogueira want to do that? Will he want to get away from his teammate, or will he utilize his teammate to maybe try and pull off a 1-2 here? Only time will tell. There's still a long way left to go. Lap 5 out of 58 in this race. But as I was saying, teammate Marduk needs to close up that gap to Adam Sanderson and get back in the DRS. Otherwise, it's going to be a very painful race for the McLaren driver.
Yeah, Nogueira flexing that 1-lap pace once more, and obviously that will have a detrimental effect on the tyres. Obviously, you do have to wonder whether he's going to position in some of that race management into his race. His first sector, though, on this lap was stellar, a 27.555. Obviously, the use of DRS greatly helping in that feat, but managing to overtake Tom97 when he did. Of course, I expect this lead will be swapped time and time again. Obviously, Tom97 is not going to be interested in trying to break that just yet. It's still far too early in the race for him to start thinking of that, and obviously the more he fights against Nogueira, the more it's going to invite Unstopped Rob, and therefore he'll lose not only P1 or P2, but also potentially a P3 spot with Infratic also on the tail of this group of cars. As there's Rasin Chai, sat in the top 10. Ferrari now back where they would like to be. Rasin, who lost out on qualifying, coming out or bailing or getting eliminated in Q2, not making it into Q3 due to his very own teammate knocking him out after Infratic managed to secure P6 out of Q2. They now both have an opportunity to go further. Team radio for Tom97. He, Nogueira, isn't deploying. We just need to charge. That's exactly what I thought Tom97 would do. He doesn't want to get into a dogfight here. He's trying to save the battery. There is a bigger race ahead here at this point.
This is good for Unstopped Rob at this stage of the race as well, with them two not pushing to drive away and just switching over these positions at the moment, because Unstopped Rob is the only driver in this top 10 who is on hard tyres. So once all these lot go into the box, the race could start to go to him. The pace will start to go to those hard tyres. He'll have the better performance. He'll be able to overtake these two. And who knows, a late safety car comes out and benefits his tyre strategy. He could be on for a winner here. Teammate Marduk on the soft tyres and struggling, being overtaken by his teammate, his new teammate now, making his debut back as a full-time F1 driver, has overtaken him as those soft tyres might be overheating and falling away from the McLaren driver. So struggling at the moment. Tom97 breaking away slightly, finds a bit of a gap there, out and running down in towards turn 1. Nogueira will need to close that up, because if they start to lose Tom97, then they're going to start squabbling amongst themselves. And looking at this top drivers, I think they're all quite smart drivers. They're not prepared to start battling and getting into the wars at this stage of the race. They just want to settle behind one another. If an opportunity arises and a driver makes a mistake, obviously they're going to take it. But for this stage of the race, they're just going to be very, very chill, not fight too much, because there's no need to throw it away on lap 7 of a 58-lap race.
No, not at all. Of course, at this point, though, it's a very tough visit for McLaren. You alluded to the soft tyres of Benjamin Daly. Well, obviously, being on soft tyres and with Punju having such a gulf in gap, 3.6 to find on Adam Sanderson, as now Rasin Chai jumps ahead of GB68, though they are going to run wheel to wheel, apparently. Meraki getting closer to the Aussie as well. GB managing to hold his line in P8, but Rasin now starting to come back again as they head down in towards turn 11. No move could be made coming through that portion of track, but there was a moment coming through the chicane that they did go side by side. GB just resilient enough to stop that from happening. But the longer this goes on for McLaren, this is not ideal, especially if you're teammate Marduk. He's the sole car on the soft tyre strategy. No other driver has used the softs yet. He's going to need, I think, a little bit of help to further his cause here in this race.
Yeah, as it stands, he's not going to be going for that 1,000 points this race. The only closest driver, I think, is Meraki, who's quite a way off, and he's also out of that top 10. Points, of course, are awarded all the way down to 15th position, provided you are classified. So they will still be scoring points. As it stands, teammate Marduk will pick up 4 points from this race. Meraki will take 3. But Meraki, I believe, has got some front wing damage. So both drivers that you'd kind of expect to be up there struggling in this race. Someone who's going to be very happy with how this race has gone is Meraki's Williams teammate, Adam Sanderson, into the top 10 and having a nice cushion to the likes of Punju 4 seconds behind. And all Adam has to do, stay in the DRS of Razin Shai of GB68. Stay with that front pack, and it's going to really reward you as they're going 3 wide between this little battle at the moment. Team at Marduk, Punju, and Team at Marduk not wanting Meraki to get through, but Meraki in towards that position just behind Team at Marduk. And now maybe these two can work together to try and close back up to those leaders.
Yeah, it's imperative that he try and close up. Team radio from Rastin Chaim trying to push GB to overtake. He just won't do it. So the frustration coming in from Rastin Chaim. We saw them go wheel to wheel not too long ago. GB, though, right on the tail of Arsenault. Remember, that gap was greatly extended up at the start of the race. GB put in a lot of work to try and close back up to Arsenault. We're riding on board here with the new Portonian right now as he heads out of turn 2 and down the stretch towards turn 3. He might choose to open up the door this time. Rastin's been poking him to try and make this move, but once again, he denies the possibility of a move now, which is only going to frustrate Rastin Chai even more, because at this rate, they're just going to be club-footed here in P8 and P9 and not venture any further up inside the top 10, which will surely be detrimental to both drivers at this stage. Though this time, GB looking to pull the plug as they run side by side, coming through this next right. They've now got the trip coming out of turns 8 in towards turns 9 and 10, and GB68 smooth as you like up into P7 as we rejoin the fight at the front, and Unstopped Rob getting closer and closer to the back of Tom97, who in turn is now closing up to Noiguera.
Yeah, those hard tyres are going to start working very well now. And Unstopped Rob going for that dive up the inside on Tom97, forces him onto the curb and moves up into P2. That was crucial for GB68 because Arsenault was just starting to lose the DRS of that guy Vince, and still GB68 just on the fringes of getting into that DRS zone. Razin Shai will be hoping that they can stay with and looking to get past Arsenault as soon as possible to get back on the gearbox of GB68.
Yeah, Zafso also looking to move up as well. So we've got a tale of 2 Alpines. Arsenault in jeopardy with Rastin Chai. We're running on board with Zafso now, who is trying to chase after it. Infratic, though, this time. So while 1 Alpine ascends, 1 drops, Infratic is going to be watching in his rear mirrors to see the Season 1 champion now riding his Ferrari rear wing. Can the Scuderia hold position and refrain from an Alpine overtake? The team based in Enstone, of course, taking over from the echelons of Renault and even prior to that, Benetton, as we now watch them cruise through the next right-hander and then up through towards turns 9 and 10. Zafso watching everything unfold out in front of him. Tom97 in trouble as now Unstopped Rob takes the lead of the race away from his teammate Noiguera. Tom97 in trouble because he's lost DRS, which will be a huge factor coming out of the chicane. I think he might have barely got it back, but Infratic was all over his tail, and Arsenault in trouble as Adam Sanderson also manages to break past him.
Yep, into the gravel, though, and into the grass goes Punju, so he's lost out a lot of positions. He was in that fight with Team at Marduk and Meraki, and look at this battle going on further down the field. Team at Marduk getting caught up in wars that he does not need to be caught up in. Meraki drives away as Team at Marduk has to fend off from the other Alpine of Arsenault, M-Sky-Z as well. And looks like Hoodie Pete is down there too. So all scrapping away at the moment as Razin Shai out of that DRS zone. Now they're going to need to work together. He's going to need Adam Sanderson to work with him as M-Sky-Z gains another position. Arsenault falling through the order. He was in a fight for the top 10, and now he's finding himself down in P13 in this race. Not a good lap there from Arsenault. Someone else who's not having a good race, Lolinoba, way down at the back of the field, unfortunately, being caught up in quite a few issues and is going to be needing a safety car to get this race back turned around. But that guy Vince all over the back of Zafso and back in that DRS train at the moment, as is GB just behind that guy Vince. And then you've got Razin Shai, who's going to be looking to hunt them down. 1.4. Can he close up those 4 attempts and get himself back in as Arsenault picks up a 3-second time penalty?
Yeah, insult to injury for Arsenault, who's already made 2 stops through the course of this race, though he's not the only driver to have stopped. We have other drivers that have stopped once already, and that's 4 drivers, being that, of course, Michi Hoyer, the V-Carb down in 18th, belonging to Peya and Ethan Woody alike. Quite a big fight here now up at the front, as now the gaps have reduced greatly, as down the inside goes Tom97. That was a surprise attack from the RB, as it goes around the outside of Unstopped Rob. Rob, who had the lead for a brief portion. Noiguera took it back. Tom97 then managed to move his way into second in great style. It was brave, bold, but it was brilliant. Oh!
Yeah, great move. Oh, what's that? Tom97 lost the car into the barrier. What has happened to Tom97? He's still running. He isn't out of this race. Has he got front wing damage for Tom 97? That was huge for the V-Carb car. I'm trying to look at that front end. I think that the front wing is all intact. He's not missing an end plate, and no, he's not, but he definitely lost the rear end. It's a very difficult corner through turns 1 and turn 2. He just lost the rear going through turn 2. The car shot over to the right-hand side, and he was just able to catch it before going into the barriers. Adam Sanderson also picked up a 3-second time penalty, which is not going to be good, but if there's no safety car, he's still going to secure a top 10 finish.
Yeah, absolutely right. And Stop Rob as well, taking the lead of the race away from Noiguera. Zafso, that guy Vince moves up to 4th, but Zafso with the up and under, getting a lovely run coming out of the chicane narrative turn 10 and in towards turn 11 they will go, but denying him at every turn here is that guy Vince, who does a great job of holding on to 4th place. Infratic in the top 3 and running very strongly on the medium tyres, though Unstop Rob, I would say, is the man in control. He's on hard tyres. He leads this race and obviously can go that little bit longer. He's going on that longer strategy. That first initial stint will be longer than those on the mediums that are further down. The only other car that actually shares this strategy with him right now is the car that sits in 11th place, and that's M Sky Z, who I must say is a far different driver to the one we saw last campaign, where he narrowly lost out to Tiamat Marduk in that hellacious final race at Paul Ricard to decide the title. M Sky Z, we're running on board with him now. Now making his way down the stretch, chasing after Meraki over 10th place. Of course, breaking into the points would be great for M Sky Z, who's had his challenges, as we so rightly mentioned. Sits all the way down in 16th and is very rarely finished in the top 10 and hasn't at all finished on the podium. So unlike him, Hayden.
Yeah, F1 24 has not been his game this season, but Unstop Rob, as you said, in control of this race at the moment. We'll be kind of hoping for Nogueira and Infratic to fight with each other, to give them that second gap, and then they will be able to break away, being on that tyre advantage at the moment. For now, they will dictate the pace, will lead from the front, and we'll try and see what can happen. This batting, though, and Tom 97's mistake has allowed Razan Shai to come back into this DRS train.
Then he has, and he can now become part of this battle. He's just within 6 tenths, now 5.5 tenths.
Tom in the box.
As we saw, yeah, Tom coming in early. And now I'm wondering whether the tyre loss, maybe the grip loss, might have caused an issue coming through turns 1 and 2, hence why we saw him spin off earlier on, Hayden.
Yeah, certainly could have done, losing those tyres, but, you know, being out of sync now of the drivers and getting caught up in that battle where Tiamat Marduk is, might not be the ideal solution, as the Mercedes swapping positions. Nogueira now moves into the lead as Unstop Rob settles for second place. Infratic just watching this battle unfold in front of him and seeing if maybe he can pick up a couple of places, as Unstop Rob hasn't had a good exit and is actually dropping a little bit back there from Nogueira, allowing Infratic a bit of an opportunity here to maybe go on the attack. But of course, they will both have DRS at this part of the track, and I don't think Infratic has got anything. It looks like Unstop Rob running some really strong straight line speed in this race, because he's pulling away from Infratic. There's a yellow flag out on track. I'm not too sure he's got caught up in that, but it's gone away, and it is Ethan Woody, who's just having a torrid time in this race at the moment. He's right down at the back. I believe he's almost a lap down, and he will be looking for a bit of a miracle to get back in this race.
You'll definitely need one. Haas, of course, swapping in 2 different drivers here this time around. Of course, we said that Michi Hoyer came in for Alex Gillen. Well, it was Ethan Woody who stepped in for Matty D13 for this particular race, but it hasn't been one to remember, as that guy Vince moves up to 4th as Zafso boxes into the pits. So this could be now the spoke that brings in all the drivers now. Has Tom 97 triggered the pit stop phase? Adam Sanderson also in the box, as well as now many of the drivers make their way down through towards turn 3. Noiguera and Unstop Rob, they've been in full control. It's been a perfect Mercedes performance so far, I would say, Hayden. They have done a tremendous job. Of course, Unstop Rob won't be boxing anytime soon. He's going to career onwards. Of course, his teammate Noiguera, though, however, is going to have bigger ideas on his mind. Now, is the reason Noiguera is leading at this point, is Unstop Rob going to be providing a protective buffer, or just utilising that DRS train, or just allowing him to use that DRS overtake, just to, I suppose, try and split themselves away from the runners in behind?
I think it's just so difficult to break away that Unstopped Rob can't just lead from the front in this race and drive away and get this race win. So he needs Nogueira and they need to swap positions. It's a lot easier if it's just those two swapping positions. It doesn't give Infratic a chance to split them. And that's, of course, what they don't want. They don't want to be split because they can dictate the pace. They can work together if they are 1 and 2. And it looks like Unstopped Rob quicker in the straights, maybe Nogueira better through the corners. There's Infratic all over the back of the Mercedes. And this could actually allow him to break away. But then we get into another DRS zone. This is the thing about Australia. There's 4 DRS zones around here, and this is why it is so difficult to break away. And that's why, of course, despite having the tyre advantage with Unstopped Rob, the DRS zones just pull the other guys back to him.
Yeah, Infratic has yet to score a single podium this season. It's very unlikely that we've ever seen him in the podium contention in the past, but this could be a first here for Fabio. And what a performance it could be as well for Ferrari, because they are bringing Racing Chai back into the fold. He's only 8 tenths, nearly 9 tenths away from GB68, so does retain that DRS, that vital DRS. That will help him a lot coming in the final stages of this encounter. But as we now watch Unstopped Rob take them through on lap 16 of 58, yet more cars opt into box further down as well. Tom 97 actually leading the contingent that have pitted already. Now, it'll be interesting to see how they both perform on the outset now as more cars come into the pits. It could have been a genius move here from Tom 97 because we do have a very long way to go in this race. And if he can nurture these tyres, that's essentially that moment that he had at turn 1 and 2 could be essentially tip-exed out.
Well, he's not too far off the back of the rest of them. He's coming in a crucial position ahead of that battle of Tiamat Marduk and the rest of them because you're just going to get caught up with everybody there. M-Sky Z, 8 seconds off of Razin Shai. Tom 97, 4 seconds off of those. So he's about 12, 13 seconds off the leaders. As they say, Mr. Dale, Mr. Safety Car Provider, is out of this race. And I think he's just lost it going into the chicane. You can see his car on the rear wing of that Alpine there. And I think he's just lost the car through the right-hander. It's flicked over to the left and it's into the barrier. And Mr. Dale is out of this race.
More good news here for Tom 97, who has only just come in. So this has worked out perfectly. This is good news,
though, because Tom 97's made that pit stop.
Well, he has made the pit stop, but at this early stage, basically all the others will come in. If the gap is small enough, then there's a good chance that he could take the lead of the race. Let's sit tight and wait till they come in.
I think he's going to lose out. I think he's going to lose out here.
Well, let's sit tight. I'm just trying to see where he is on my track map here. I can see that 2 cars have come in. One of them's Dale's. Has anyone else come into box? Punju's in the pits. I'm just watching now just to see where the V-carbs go. And into the pits comes Peya. So that's Tom 97's teammate. I wouldn't be surprised if we see...
Yeah, I think the leaders are coming into the hairpin now. So they're a little bit off the ways. But if they're going to box, they're going to have to do at this end of this lap. But I think Tom 97, I think he's going to lose out here.
I think you could be right. Just looking at it, it obviously depended where the cars were on track. Unstopped Rob now about to come around along with Nogueira. Let's wait and see what happens. Of course, they're bound to... Are they going to come in? A little jink outwards, but yeah, they're all coming in. So Mercedes in a bit of trouble here because they have to double stack. Yeah, absolutely right. So this is an issue for Unstopped Rob. Nogueira having to double stack, so he'll almost certainly, I would say, lose out to Tom 97, I would assume.
So the Red Bull's going to get stuck as well, look.
Yeah, so it might work out for him. I tell you, it's a lottery, folks, here at this stage. Lap 17 of 58, safety car out. There's a plethora of cars making their way through. Tom 97 comes on through and does lead the race here in Australia. So there we have it. The early stop just prior to the safety car has worked in Martinez's favour. He lost out coming through the first chicane at turns 1 and 2, but he got it back and is being allowed to pass the safety car, it seems.
He's overtaken this. No, you don't get allowed to overtake the safety car. That's a disqualification for Tom 97. He's going to get disqualified.
Goodness me.
Is Tom 97 going to get disqualified from this race? What's going on? No, they are allowed to overtake the safety car. What is going on in this race? Tom 97 overtakes the safety car. And I'm not too sure what has happened there. The safety car might have picked up the wrong driver because Unstopped Rob is now only just getting past. But this is huge for Zafso. Zafso was in that top 5, 6 battle. That's where he was. He's boxed earlier, and now he's found himself into P2. Nogueira got it all wrong under that pit stop. He needed to drive a little bit slower. Give your driver, give Unstopped Rob enough of a gap. He would have just lost out to Tom97 and Zafso. Would have held up Infratic, but wouldn't have lost out those positions to Infratic and Dat Guy Vince and GB68. Dat Guy Vince also got held slightly because of the double stack. His exit wasn't free and got overtaken by Infratic as well. So that is how that has all unfolded. But yeah, not too sure what's happened under safety car and why they were allowed to overtake it, but hopefully it all sorts itself out.
Well, if there is any man who could tell us more, there's only one man that can. And it's TK. TK Clips, over to you.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've just seen carnage unfold tenfold here in the Creator Series. First, of course, to Tom97. The game has just allowed him past. He's gone maybe a little bit too hot towards the safety car, got neck and neck. And normally, when that timer comes up, doesn't allow you to pass, for whatever reason, it's granted him pass, given him the green light, and on his merry way, he's gone with Safso. What I'm going to bring you back to, though, is this incident with Dale. It's turns 9 and 10 near Australia that has caused chaos once again. He's gone quite calmly over the first turn. Over the second one, though, he's just clipped something on the exit, and into the barrier he goes, losing that front wheel. And that is what happened. You can tell by the expression on his face that it's all gone wrong for him this afternoon. A couple of other things just to bring you whilst we're in the safety car period. Punju here, having a lovely love tap with Tia McMurdoch as they run into the same corner. Tap on the rear there, 2 McLarens come together, and very, very lucky not to end up in a similar fate for Punju for himself. Finally, we go back to the race restart. We're on board with Mr. Dale once again, and I want to keep your attention to the Haas of Ethan Woody on the right-hand side of your screens. He'll be passing by in just a couple of moments' time, and it all goes wrong for the Haas car as he dives down into turn number 3 here. There we go, late on the brakes, tried to make it work. Boy, oh boy, carnage unfolded.
That is extraordinary. Thank you, as always, TK, for your master expertise in giving us the replays and all the scoops. I think Mr. Dale enjoyed that one as well, though he would soon be very distraught after what would happen later on. Vintage Dale, Hayden.
Vintage Dale. I mean, that's why we've got him. If we need a safety car, we wind Dale up and we get him into the barrier. And there we go. We've got the safety car that is shaking up this race. And I think for a lot of drivers, they needed that. Ethan Woody, definitely one of them. But Lolanoba, a driver who has so much pace. And now this safety car is going to provide, hopefully, an opportunity to showcase that. He's at the back of the grid. He's got a lot of work to do. He's going to cut through the field now. But if he can get the strategy right from here on in, can potentially get back into a very strong points-paying position. Tom97 leads the way, though, and Zafso is in second. Zafso is one of the drivers that I think this has really worked out massively for. Promote himself up in a P2, and GB68 has found himself up. As that guy Vince, what's happened to Team at Marley's gained a couple of positions? That guy Vince, I think, has maybe made another pit stop under the safety car. Has gone for a second stop here, and yes, I believe he has. He's gone back onto a set of medium tyres to potentially go to the end of this race. So the strategy might not have worked out in his favour, and the safety car might not have been perfect timing for him. So he thinks, you know what, I'm going to go back to medium tyres, take that hit initially in positions, but I don't need to make a pit stop again.
No, that's right. You're absolutely spot on. You can bet your bottom dollar that there are those on the hards that might yet also be able to take their tyres to the end. Especially those in 11th place. Meraki with an outside chance, I would say, in my book, of doing exactly the same. He's only actually accrued 2 laps on his hards. Let us know in the live chats as well. Big thank you to everyone who has tuned in. Be sure to join the conversation as well on social media. Hashtag F1 Creator Series. Become part of this fantastic community. We do, of course, have social medias, channels on X as well as Instagram at F1 Creator Series. Be sure to get involved and leave a follow and stay up to date with all the content and the latest news. You can also join the Discord server as well. We have a fan zone there that you guys can get involved with. But let us know in the live chat as to who you think is going to win this Australian Grand Prix here in the F1 Creator Series. Tom97 leads the way after a sterling call to pit when he did. Obviously, the safety car would come out later on, slowing up the rest of the pack. Unstopped Rob losing the lead as a result. And unfortunately, Nogueira forced to take the double stack, as now we see the cars come through the final corner. The safety car coming to an end, and they're going to put pedal to the metal for the second time in this race now. Tom97 leads the way. Zafso in second. Half a second between the two. Zafso, the Season 1 champion, coming to blows with the man with most wins this season, Tom97. But despite taking 3 wins already this campaign, last time winning at Spa, he only sits 4th in the championship coming into this round. Noiguera trying to make moves all over the back of GB68, who is thwarting him at every stretch. Both of them carrying the Mercedes fabled engine, but it is an Aston Martin that sits in 5th place. Infratic, though, having a sterling drive in 4th right now here, Hayden.
Zafso got caught napping a little bit on that safety car restart, but was able to recover and get back in that DRS. As here goes Unstopped Rob on the attack of Zafso now, and looks like also potentially Tom97 will try and get involved with that as well. Zafso to the left, Tom97 in the middle, and they all managed to figure themselves out, and no changes of position for the time being. But here comes Unstopped Rob once again, now on the inside on the rundown into the hairpin, up the inside of Zafso, moves himself up into 2nd position. We'll have slightly better tyres compared to the drivers around them. Zafso pitted 1 lap before Unstopped Rob, so we'll have slightly better tyres than the Alpine driver. And I believe the Alpine is on the hards, and Unstopped Rob, of course, on the medium, starting on those hard tyres at the beginning of this race. So Tom97 still leading the way, but Unstopped Rob is going to be hunting them down.
Yeah, obviously Tom97, if the mediums can go to the end, no doubt his hards can as well. And Rob, I'm sure, is going to be wary of that. He's going to have to tyre save, be cautious of how much he's using out there on track. Ratsin Chai, who are currently watching in 8th place, now trying to close up to former championship contender M-Sky Z is now wheel to wheel. Comes in Tiamat Marduk and Adam Sanderson. Devon Butler holding on for all he's worth down there in 9th place. And Tiamat Marduk forced to wait in behind, but we did see it coming together right at the front. Tom97 leading the way. Unstopped Rob now on his tail, opening up the door now, coming through towards turn 8. The Mercedes and the RB go side by side, coming through in towards the chicane at Wait Corner, turns 9 and 10. It will soon favour Unstopped Rob, who now holds the lead and will now look to carry on further. He's on medium tyres. He's on a faster tyre than Tom97. He's on a faster tyre than Zafso. The question is, will it take him home in front in the second half of this race?
Well, this is where he's going to be quickest. At this stage of the race, going to be pushing hard as Tiamat Marduk once again tries to get past Adam Sanderson, and he needs to do it quick because he needs to get on the back of the likes of Razin Shai and get the DRS. He's on the inside now going into the penultimate corner, will squeeze Adam Sanderson out wide, but gets ahead, gets that nose in front, and will now drive on to catch up to Razin Shai. Will Adam Sanderson deploy the battery though? Will he try and fight for all his worth for that P9 position? No, he stays back, and Tiamat Marduk moves up into 9th position. But a bad corner there, a bad turn 1 and 2. And Adam Sanderson gives him the opportunity, but not pushing too hard, as Razin Shai trying to go for the overtake on GB68. Both of them caught up behind M-Sky Z, who is having a nosebleed in this race. He's never found himself so high in an F1 24 race, up into P6 at the moment, and maybe finally he can hold it. Hoodie Pete retires from this session, and it's a second safety car in this race. Hoodie Pete, unfortunately, looks like he's spun in exactly the same position that he spun in yesterday's F2 race. And I'm not too sure if maybe he's been caught by a driver like he did yesterday as well. But Hoodie Pete, our second retirement from today, will join Mr. Dale on the Naughty Boy bench.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that someone else who is on the Naughty Boy bench, as far as Ratsin Chai is concerned, is Tiamat Marduk. Leave me alone, please. He's saying, talking to Ben. Obviously, Ben getting in the grill of one Ratsin Chai. Of course, Ben was driving the Ferrari last season and was actually teammates with Infratic, where they went to take a historic championship victory as a team, along with Tiamat Marduk taking the Drivers' Championship win at Paul Ricard. It looked like he was trying to let Adam Sanderson through there as well by the looks of it, but breezes on past GB68 under the safety car. Lolinoba gets a 10-second time penalty for a severe collision with Michi Hoyer, so there's drama throughout this grid right now. In terms of the penalties, Adam Sanderson has penalties against his name, as does Lolinoba, Punju, as well as Arseno. Now, the big concern here for those on the hards is that this is good news for those on the mediums, because if you're Unstopped Rob, again, this is allowing you to get those tyres, you know, I suppose longer, just elongate the stint on this particular tyre. So, you know, it increases your likely chances of getting them home in good time, I would say, Hayden.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting towards that halfway stage of the race. If the tyres work very well around this circuit, then, you know, it's just going to help that and benefit Unstopped Rob in this position, because a lot of other drivers are on the hards. But that guy Vince, we saw him thinking, do you know what? I'm going to take mediums to the end. And I believe he's come back into the pits for another pit stop. Might have been caught up in a collision surrounding the Hoodie Pete incident. But I believe TK has got that instance. Let's find out a little bit more of what went on.
I do indeed. Thanks for throwing over, Hayden. It's the same situation as we saw last time out. I'll let this clip play in the background. It was the two Italians battling out side by side. Hoodie left space around the outside, and then it was Lottie Noba that just came across Mr. Hoodie Pete, clipping that front wheel, and unfortunately ran into by us Arezzo. And unfortunately, it was the two Italian stallions, and Australia couldn't quite handle it.
Oh, dearie me. Heartbreak indeed for Hoodie Pete, and the hood will be up at this point. Thank you so much, TK. We have got Stop Rob still up at the front. Tom 97.
I just want to say, George, that is exactly the same way that Hoodie Pete retired in yesterday's F2 feature race. How has he managed to do that twice in a row?
The one thing we can always say is that we harnessed consistency in the Creator Series, and Hoodie Pete has taken that right to the fold here in Australia. Congratulations on his part. I wish we gave out points for that, Hayden, but I'm afraid we don't.
No, we do not. Hoodie Pete, no points. Points for effort. We're going to give a little bit of motivation. 10. We give a perfect 10. It was a great spin.
The Olympics is on. We've seen some synchronized diving, and he's done it so synchronized to the point where he's done it back to back in 2 races in the same weekend. So credit to Hoodie Pete for that. Yeah, you're an Olympian in spirit, my friend. We've got Unstop Rob, though, still up at the top. I mean, at this stage, Hayden, it's a who's who at this point, because obviously we got those on the hard tyres that could very easily come into the win fold at the end of this race. You definitely can't write off the opportunities here for those on the mediums, because surely as this carries out, the deeper we get into this under the safety car, this is going to work in the favour of Unstop Rob, and maybe even M Sky Z to pull off an unlikely podium that he's been so rightly hunting for so far this season. He's yet to have one. This could be his time.
I mean, it certainly is going to help M Sky Z to solidify a position potentially in that top 10 as we get a team radio from Hoodie Pete, and we can read that. And I think Hoodie Pete just frustrated with it happening twice in a row, because it was exactly the same thing. He was on the inside, got cut across, spun round, and unfortunately then another driver comes through and makes contact. But the safety car is coming in this lap. Lottie Noba has joined the rear of the pack here, and Arsenault is there as well. And it's going to be Unstop Rob who gets us back underway. But Tom 97, always the aggressor, will be wanting to try and fight for this championship here. Not a championship winner in the Creator Series, despite the immense pace that he has. Will be looking to try and get that challenge for that first one, but can he get it kick-started here in Australia? Unstop Rob will lead the way. Tom 87 will hunt him down in second place.
Definitely will. Lap 25 of 58 will soon become lap 26. The Mercedes takes them round once more. 3 retirements already since the very start of the race. Tom 97 quite a ways back, and Unstop Rob certainly not stopping, but by any means right now to get this back underway, and has got a clear gap in behind from Tom 97 as we now cross the line and we put pedal to the metal for the 3rd time in this Grand Prix now. Unstop Rob in towards turn 1 in the Mercedes will lead them through further back. Tom 97 nursing a gap of nearly a second in between he and the Mercedes now, with Zafso in 3rd, Infratic 4th, Noiguera in 5th, M Sky Z remaining in 6th spot, with Racing Chai trying to close him down. GB68 in the top 8 and trying to close on Racing Chai alike. Adam Sanderson and Meraki Williams, both cars in the top 10. What a moment for this pairing, as now Sanderson is closing all over the back of GB68 in an effort to take P8 away.
Yeah, Unstop Rob got away from Tom 97 kind of in a similar fashion that we saw Tom 97 get away from Zafso on the last safety car restart. The guy in second just getting caught napping in the safety car restart. But here comes Adam Sanderson all over the back of GB68. This is an overtake he won't want to happen. Getting overtaken by Adam, but he doesn't get done in towards the chicane. But now there's a second opportunity of slipstream. No DRS activated yet. That'll be the next lap. But here comes his teammate Meraki on the inside. Contact between the two of them. You just know when you go side by side with Adam Sanderson, you're not getting left room. If you stick your nose in there, he's going to chop that off.
I thought that was a bit late from Meraki, personally. As far as I'm concerned, we'll get TK to have a look at that later on. But from my view, I think that was a little overzealous. And we have got yellow flags, DRS enabled here at this point. So we are back under full green in accordance to the track map in the bottom right of our screen. Unstop Rob leads the way. Tom 97 in second still. Here comes Zafso on the attack, the season 1 champion once again. The gap starting to increase in between he and Fabio in 4th as well. Noiguera coming back into the mix. Remember, he came out of the pits under the safety car not too long ago in 6th place. M-Sky Z sits in that position now. Noiguera gaining a spot off the back of all this. Rasin Chai in 7th. GB68 once more being trespassed upon by Adam Sanderson. Michi Hoyer now up to 10th after Meraki lost out earlier on, but is immediately now on the back of Peya and looking to try and take back those positions that he did indeed lose. But Noiguera fighting hard to try and regain some of that delta in between him and Infratic right now, as Tom 97 on the outset of turn 10 now looking to attack Unstop Rob coming in towards turn 11 this time. The Mercedes holding on, the RB unable to break away, but Zafso now the danger man here, Hayden, 3rd place and literally licking the paint off that rear wing of that RB.
These three are looking very, very comfortable at this stage of the race. Someone who is in danger is Infratic, who is just on the verges of dropping outside that 1 second, but also going to be under pressure from Nogueira, who is all over the gearbox of the Ferrari driver. So speaking of Ferraris, Rasin Shai just goes and sets the fastest lap of the race so far, as Meraki takes it away from him there. So both of those two pushing at this stage of the race to try and get back in towards those top 5 positions. But Infratic looks like he's closed up a little bit towards Zaf. So of course, having the multiple DRS zones around here is going to help you. If you can just get within DRS, it's crucial. It keeps you with those guys in front. But the moment you lose it, you're going to be a sitting duck and you're just going to fall down the order. So this is where Nogueira needs to get past Infratic as soon as possible. Get ahead of him, but make sure he still holds the DRS of the guys in front. Speaking of in front, and it is Tom 97 who takes the lead of the race. But here comes Zafso round the outside into the chicane. Can he hold it? And he does. He swoops nicely around the outside of Unstop Rob and moves himself into P2 and puts himself in prime position to take away the win from Tom 97. When was the last time Zafso had a win? It's been a while.
Yeah, vintage Zafso once again, Season 1 champion in the Creator Series, and that was certainly a very brave move coming into a very fast-paced chicane out of turns 9 and 10 at Wake Corner. And I must say, Unstop Rob with a little bit of a moment coming through turn 14 as well. So this opens up the door for Tom 97 and Zafso to potentially draw away clear from the Mercedes in behind. Mercedes now once again synchronized in Ps4 and Ps3. Skyzy now moves up to 5th because Fabio has dropped to 6th. Meraki has now taken the fastest lap of the race after managing to nestle some purple sectors. So has though GB. So they're all coming together as Unstop Rob now looks to go wheel to wheel with Zafso now in the first sector. Zafso denying him though, coming out of turns 5 and through towards turn 6 very shortly. But on the outside out of turn 4, it is still Zafso in 2nd. Unstop Rob will remain in 3rd. It was a very bold move from Unstop Rob, obviously hurting after losing out on the place going through towards Wake Corner. They're about to visit it again, but this time it could be Rob on the tail of Zafso opening up the door here, Hayden.
Yeah, but watch out for Nogueira in the other Mercedes. He's looking very, very feisty. Overtaking Infratic might have actually cost Infratic the position to M-Sky Z. Zafso's last win, Imola, Season 2, was the last time Zafso won a race. Could it happen today in Season 7, Australia? Let's wait and see. Zafso looking really, really good. Really comfortable as well. And that's important because you want to be comfortable. You want to be consistent. Stay behind Tom as long as possible. Then on that last lap, blast past him with the DRS, take the victory, and that's what Zafso's going to be looking at. But there's still a long way left to go until that happens. We're watching GB68 right up, tucked behind Rasin Shai at the moment, who's also tucked behind his teammate of Infratic, who will be licking his wounds after losing a couple of positions earlier on the last lap.
Yeah, certainly will. Zafso came in, took his first intermediate pole of the season, and now we see Infratic and Rasin coming together. Now, surely they've got to work together. Rasin managing to break past GB68, now on the coattails of his teammate. Of course, a former champion, Rasin Chai, 12 podiums against his name with 5 wins, but has recorded 5 DNFs. Nothing of the sort this time, though, in 61 starts here this time around. And here at Australia, sits on the cusp of achieving yet more big points for Ferrari. Could be even more should Fabio improve once more again, as now Zafso takes the lead of the race, following him through Noiguera. So 2 moves in the space of 1 single straight. And now Unstop Rob down to 4th place with Tom 97 looking to try and double back on Noiguera. Rasin Chai and M-Sky Z now coming wheel to wheel. But certainly it looks like Rasin Chai has M-Sky Z's number, who now, well, certainly retains that P7 that he has now held. GB68 still in 8th. Lolinoba breaking past Tiamat Marduk, who's having a race to forget here, Hayden.
That was an incredible overtake from Nogueira. Just swooped past 2 drivers and moves himself into second place. As Punju saying, it's tense back here, and it really is very, very close between all those drivers in the middle pack of this race. As we're watching Nogueira's rear wing, Tom 97 very, very close as MSkyZ now starting to drop positions. Infratic picks up that 3-second time penalty, and we were talking about it earlier as it looks like Nogueira now takes the lead away from Zafso and moves up into P1. Zafso again setting for P2, but won't be too worried about that because again, it's a long race still to play out. If you're in P2, it's a good position to be in this race. But we were talking about Infratic earlier, makes those small little errors, and those small little errors of just cutting the white line lap after lap, and it's punished him with a 3-second time penalty. Especially with this close train, you're going to lose out a lot of positions. As it stands, could drop outside the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely right. We're now running on board with Unstop Rob, who's closing back on Tom 97. Nogueira leading once more. Safso just closing up on the back of him again. We'll, of course, have DRS down this next straight, leading through towards turn 11. We've now got team radio from Rasin Chai saying, I take back everything I said about Fabio. He's a legend. Well, there we go. There we are. It's nice to see the 2 Ferrari teammates working together and synchronized in what they're thinking right now. They're going to need it in the second half of this race because they've closed up to the back of Unstop Rob. As now we see wheel-to-wheel action between Lolinoba, who now makes a move past that guy Vince. Great effort from the Sauber as they head through the final corners here on this lap 31 of 58. But Nogueira taking them down through towards the first sector once more. And they'll begin at lap 32. And Zafso looking to try and gain again the Alpine with one of his better performances this season. Of course, we haven't seen Fabio on the should I say, Safso on the top step in quite some time. Of course, you alluded to it being at Imola in the distant past. Well, you never know. This time around, he could find himself back on the top step. Only this time here at Australia, following suit from Tim Marduk back in Season 2. Only raced here once before here at Melbourne. And the second time of asking could yet fall Zafso's way. He's in the wheel tracks this time of Nogueira, who has been a superstar for Mercedes so far in this race. His one-lap pace, as I said, in qualifying was heroic, and now the heroics fall away of Zafso, who now takes the lead here on lap 32.
Yeah, he's been managing this race very, very well, has Zafso, just switching first and second, and that's what you need to do. You need to just put the ego to the side, allow yourself to be overtaken, because then you'll get the advantage of the DRS, but don't lose out too many positions. You're too busy scrapping with the guy who is currently in second, taking that lead of the race. You're going to lose out a lot of places, and it's going to allow the opportunity for the driver in third to pounce and take you back. So we're watching now Lolinoba just wrestling with the rear end of the car. They've managed to work their way back up into a points-paying position into P13. Remember, points awarded to the top 15 drivers in Creator Series. But Tim Marduk, we said earlier, he's hunting down those 1,000 points, but he's struggling big time in this race. Not too sure he's picked up maybe some floor damage, some rear wing damage, or he's just got something else, or whether it's just a case of lack of pace in this race at the moment. But he's off the back of everybody else, and he is struggling big time.
You know, someone who isn't struggling is GB68, who's managed to break ahead of Infratic in 6th place now. So remember, he was sat in 8th not too long ago, but has managed to get past both MSkyZ and has now split the 2 Ferraris. Rasin Chai hunting down after Unstop Rob. His teammate Nogueira now has taken the lead back at the start of this very lap. And as they now come through turns 9 and 10, it got very close in between Rasin Chai and Unstop Rob. Rasin Chai's pace is rapid right now. He's gone purple in the middle sector and he's trying to close. Unstop Rob goes defensive coming in towards turn 11, but makes contact with a Ferrari. The front wing, well, catching the Mercedes rear wing here at this point on lap 33 of 58 as they now rush through the final 2 corners on this lap through turns 13 and turns 14, and the momentum has now been fed back to Tom 97. Oh, very, very close to retiring once more, and that is yet another sense of what we saw back at turns 1 and 2 prior to the pit stop phases coming into play. Tom 97 so close to DNFing from this race.
How many times is Tom 97 going to do that as he now goes for the overtake on Infratic? I believe he's got wing damage through there. Rasin Chai, I'm pretty sure, picked up wing damage from crashing into the back of Unstop Rob, just trying to have that little look, and now he's going to be under pressure from GB68. Tom 97 doing this the hard way at the moment. There's a great opportunity to take a huge stride in catching up in the championship, and again, wrestling with the rear of that car. He's very unsettled. He's not comfortable in this car, but he's playing the long game. He was very happy to give up positions earlier on when Razin Shai Nogueira went wheel to wheel with Tom 97 at this section of the track, one lap previously. So he's playing the long game in this race, and he thinks that he has that ability to pick back up these positions, but he's putting himself under more and more pressure. But at this stage of the race, anyone in his top 10 can win this race. Maybe someone maybe not like Infratic or Adam Sanderson, because unfortunately they picked up penalties, but all the other drivers have got a great opportunity to do this, as Punju massively off the pace, and I think he made a bit of a mistake going for the chicane.
Yeah, the DRS train has been recovered now all the way down to P11 at Adam Sanderson. But Zasso has managed to retake the lead away from Nogueira as well. But further back, we're now seeing GB come into the forefront of this race. His pace has been electric alike and very nearly matching, and in fact faster than Razin Shai, who is registering purple sectors in the prior 2 laps. So the Aston Martin, I would argue, the faster car against the Ferrari in this round of the championship, especially here at Melbourne. Seems to like this flat surface as GB, and has managed to bring his car from P12 from where he started now up to P5. And if it ends like this will be a truly remarkable performance on part of the Newportonian as he now heads through the next right-hander and then a trip down towards turns 9 and 10. It's still Zafso who leads this race. And in behind now we have Nogueira now starting to levy his way forward, and enter now GB, very nearly caught in between Racing and the wall. Racing getting on the curb, and that's going to allow GB to plough on through, and the Aston Martin now moves up to 4th. Nogueira now takes the lead, and Tom 97 with the opportunistic move of all moves here on lap 35, now also brushing past Razin Shai. So a major moment for Razin, who now sees himself lose 2 places in one single sector.
That's the power of the DRS train. If you make one small little error, if you just get overtaken by another driver, there's another driver tucked up to the gearbox. They're like hooked onto each other, and they're just going to follow you through. If the door is open by somebody else, they're going to step right into that as well, and you've just got to try and stop as many drivers getting past you. As Razin Shai, unfortunately, got overtaken by both Tom 97 and GB68 there, as Nogueira retakes the lead of this race from Zafso. But as I say, Zafso very much in command, very comfortable at the moment. P2 is where you want to be going on to lap 56. Blast past them using the DRS and the ERS, and then take victory. So you just need to try and stay in P2 as much as possible. It looks like Unstopped Rob just dropping off ever so slightly, but anyway, I'm pretty sure we're going to see Zafso having a little look maybe down in towards this chicane, sitting back, saving the ERS, maybe saving a little bit of fuel as well, and he's going to settle for P2 because there's no pressure at the moment from Unstopped Rob behind him. Tom 97 working his way back up the order into P5 at the moment, but GB68 up into P3 could be someone to watch as well. Still yet to get a race win, has never won a race win, got closest in Las Vegas when he just went right into the final chicane, overcooked it on the brakes, and completely threw away his first ever race win. If it were to finally come in Season 7, what an achievement it would be, and there is that big fat 0, as large as it could possibly be, to remind us all that GB68 actually has the same amount of race wins in Creator Series as I do. And that's a stat I don't think he'll be happy with.
No, not at all. 58 races as of now, and has registered 15 podiums ever since the start of his campaign in the Creator Series. Like you so rightly said, coming closest back at Las Vegas. And it feels like an age since that occurred. I remember that race very well. I was in the commentary box for that one too. Zafso on the attack though, our Season 1 champion. He's had 2 wins to his name, which seems like a small amount when you consider that he is a champion from back in Season 1, but you never know. That's a long-term stretch without a victory. Could be falling in his lap as now he cruises on by Nogueira, coming through towards turns 9 and 10, and at Wake Corner, the Alpine hits the front. Nogueira down to 2nd, GB now coming into the fight in what could be a 16th podium, could yet be a historic first race win here for GB68, but we still have the small matter of 21 laps to go here at Melbourne, the Albert Park street circuit here with the man-made lake in the middle, and these F1 cars looking to rise up the order as we now rejoin the fight further back. And we heard from Punju earlier on saying that this fight at the back was extremely tense. For Lolin Ober, it has been. He's been right in the thick of it and is now battling with Tiamat Marduk, former race winner here back in Season 2.
Team at Marduk having an absolute stinker today, way down in P14. Now going to move himself into P12 past Lolanoba. Lolanoba, again, another driver that I think, has much better pace than this and should be further up the field, as is Perya. All these drivers here, Vince, Team at Marduk, Perya, Lolanoba, have the pace to be in that DRS train at the front, but have been caught up in far too many issues as Perya gets forced out very wide there by the Kicksauber car of Lolanoba. But Team at Marduk, he's got a great opportunity to get back in the championship fight, close up to El Rey Guri, close up to Alex Gillen, and he's not taking that opportunity with open arms here as Lolanoba slid through that chicane. We return to the fight at the top. It is Nogueira who leads the way over GB68. What's happened to Zafso? Where is Zafso dropped? He's dropped all the way down. Sorry, 15th. No, he's in third. He's in 15th? I can't see him. He's in 16th. Yes, is he boxed? Has Zafso come into the pits or has he made a mistake?
He's boxed for medium tyres. Yeah, he's coming for a fresh set of tyres. So obviously looking for that pace to take him to the end. These will, of course, take him to the end. 20 laps on these tyres for sure. He did a 23 stint. Oh, wow. Top 97. It looked like there was a bit of contact. Zafso saying we really need to be careful on warnings now. So obviously alluding to a few of the drivers that have got warnings against their name. And I just want to actually allude this to you. GB68 has got 2 warnings against his name. 1 away, potentially, from a penalty. Racing Chai on 3 warnings without a penalty. Infratic does have a penalty of 3 seconds and has got 3 warnings. And looking for the Damichi Hoya, who's now in the top 10, 3 warnings against his name. Many cars opt into box at this very fragile stage of the race. The final stop, you fathom, unless we get another safety car. Nogueira leading. The gap now between he and GB. Bear in mind, both these drivers have not won at all in the Creator Series. Nogueira may have come close in the past, but still chasing that vital race win. Has only been on the podium twice. It could be a magic number 3 for Nogueira this time.
What do these other drivers do at the front then? Do they copy? Do they decide to react to those drivers around them? Or do they believe that they can take these tyres to the end and hope that the likes of Zafso, Tom 97 get caught up in the mix behind Team at Marduk, that guy Vince and Lolanoba? Because, of course, if they're the only drivers that box and they've got to make a lot of overtakes in this race, they might find themselves a little bit more difficult to get themselves back through the field. And Tom 97 did spin into the pits and has got front wing damage. Razin Shai into the box. Now, I believe that he did get front wing damage, and he did earlier on from that contact with Unstopped Rob, and that's going to be a slower pit stop for the Ferrari driver. New front wing going on the car, and he'll be looking to rejoin around the same sort of area as Tom 97, just tucked up behind Punju.
Yeah. GB's taken the lead as well. He's just ripped it away from the clutches of Nogueira. So it is the case that 2 Mercedes powertrains lead the way in this race. Only this time, one of them is an Aston Martin. GB68 leading here at Melbourne with Nogueira in second, Infratic in third. Meraki now looking to come into the fold as well. Bear in mind, he's on the same tyre life than the cars in front, though he does have a 0.8 of a second gap between he and our P3 sitter Infratic, who does have a penalty. So you never know. Could be a dramatic strategy twist with Meraki looking to potentially go to the end. I mean, you wouldn't say no to those on the hard tyres at this point. With GB, as well as Nogueira, Infratic and Meraki doing that exact stint. Is now Lolanoba tapping the rear of Peya once more. Peya around the outside of Lolanoba, moves him up into 9th place. Those two have been going at it now for quite some time. And it has been a tricky race for Lolanoba. GB68 on the team radio saying plan A or plan B. He must be alluding to the pit stop here, Hayden. Yeah. He must be alluding to, am I going to go to the end or am I going to pit?
Translation for everybody at home. Is this race a 1-stopper or is it a 2-stopper? He's currently on the 1-stop at the moment. Let's find out which one he picks. He's gone a lot longer, so regardless, those drivers are going to undercut him and they are going to jump past. But yeah, potentially he can take these hard tyres right the way to the end, and then he will try and see what he can do from there. But it all depends on the pace that Zafso has and how quickly Zafso can get through the field, because he's in prime contention. Tom 97 damaged his front wing. He's way off. Unstopped Rob has got an Alpine in the way that could do an absolute solid for Zafso now by holding him up just a few corners and making his life difficult for him to get past. So this could all dictate what GB68 does on the strategy in this race. But looking further up the field, this is working very nicely for the other Mercedes of Nogueira as well. Meraki's found himself himself back in this race. And look at Adam Sanderson finding himself in P5. But for GB68, he's on hards. They've done 23 laps, and they're currently only on 20% wear, which in my opinion, I take the gamble. Go to the end. Might as well try it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think at this point, with Unstopped Rob now setting those faster laps, I don't think they have very much choice up at the front, because they will forfeit a lot of time, given the fact they are on these well-worn tyres here at this stage. Despite them still performing, though, brilliantly, Noiguera now retaking the lead away from GB68. Infratic down in third. Meraki getting closer to this front three as well, so it becomes a 4-car scrap. Tiamat Marduk, with this stint at the moment, has actually got fresher tyres than anybody in the top 4 and is on the hards. These will, you'd fathom, go to the end. So this could essentially spin on its head for the Aussie, who was well outside the points and in the bottom 10, but with everyone boxing, has managed to move up into the top 5. This could work in Ben's favour here, Hayden.
He fluked his way to a win last time we came here in Australia in Season 2. Can Tiamat Marduk fluke his way to a win in Season 7 Australia? Only time will tell. But yeah, he's put himself in a decent position, but he has got to watch out for Zafso, who is hunting him down. It's about 7 seconds, 8 seconds, the gap between Zafso and Tiamat Marduk, who's got much better tyres. So he's going to be looking to try and close up the gap. GB68 still in second position. Infratic tucked up behind this little battle. I mean, for Infratic, he'll be hoping to get past these two. They battle with each other, and he gains 3 seconds, because at the moment it puts himself in a very difficult position. Or maybe for Infratic, he just needs to put his car in a position that forces GB or Nogueira slightly off the circuit, allow them to pick up a couple of warnings, and then sails into a good position to be on par in terms of penalties. That's what Infratic's going to have to be hoping for. But Unstopped Rob setting the timing screens alight after overtaking the other Alpine of Arseno.
Yeah, absolutely right indeed. Lap 43 of 58. We're coming into a very sensitive stage now. More purple sectors on display for Unstopped Rob. He took the purple first sector in his last lap, registering a personal best of a 1:18.146, which, just to put it into contextual language for you guys, that is over a second faster. In fact, over 1.5 seconds faster than anybody else. That guy Vince has now moved up to 5th ahead of Tiamat Marduk. So Ben now forfeiting time a little bit here at this stage, I should say. Obviously, that guy Vince on similar tyre life. They both share the same age of hard tyre. And looking at this, Tiamat Marduk coming out on the team radio, no surprises. We need to work together with Vince. He's absolutely spot on, because they're going to need that DRS to prevent those behind from challenging their places in Ps 5 and 6, Hayden.
Yeah, certainly so, because they have that gap to Meraki at the moment. It's 3 seconds, so they need to work together to close up that gap, get back on the DRS of the leaders, and then it allows them to save a little bit of battery and put themselves in a better position away from Zafso and drag himself away from Zafso. Zafso now on the back of Perya, and this is going to be an important overtake. Tiamat Marduk unable to overtake here. Will probably try and do it down into turn 3, but here comes Zafso on Perya, moves up into, got very close between the two of them, nearly took each other out there, but Zafso into 7th position, and that's crucial for him, not losing too much time behind the V-Carb car. 7 seconds is the gap. Let's watch that time tumble and see how quickly now he can catch up to the likes of Tiamat Marduk and that guy Vince.
Yeah, I mean, what Zafso's done is brilliant on this final stint, because he's managed to gap Unstopped Rob and stick a car in between the pair as well. But now wheel to wheel, Meraki coming in to join the fight as he now breezes past the Ferrari belonging to Infratic. GB68 with the lead. Noiguera sitting in second. Meraki might fancy a double. He's going to try and make his way out of turn 10. Fabio might try and take it back as they head in towards turn 11. Not quite close enough, but a fantastic effort here from Meraki to really turn this race into his fortune. Started 15th on the grid and now sits on the cusp of a potential podium. This would be extraordinary off the back of the Williams driver, as now Fabio looks to go hunting once more, but the energy light flashing on the back of the Williams as he looks to try and preserve a little bit of battery as they head down the stretch once again. It is still GB68 who leads the way. He started in 12th, did not make it into Q3, and has managed now to claw his way back into the field, as now we have yellow flags in Sector 3 this time. Not quite sure what that's about. A few cars, though, coming into the pits. Oh, Punju with a little moment. That's the yellow flag in Sector 3, Hayden.
Crucial for the likes of Zafso and everybody who has done that pit stop. There is no safety car, because that's going to allow those guys to box to a new, fresher set of tyres than the likes that Zafso has, and also, reduce a bit of time on the pit stop as well. So Zafso will be breathing a sigh of relief that there was no safety car. Punju has got damage and will be looking to come into the pit lane unless that's a rear wing. But he's back on the board with the fight at the front. Meraki, a great race, and could have an opportunity to fight for this race win for sure if the one-stop strategy is the one that works out. But this could be a monumental day for us here. GB68 or Zafso are the two in the prime positions to take the race win. The best on each of the alternative strategies. And for Zafso, it'll be the first win since Season 2. And for GB, it'll be his first ever win. Meraki already has 7 to his name, but also you've got Nagera, who is yet to get a race win as well. So I think no matter what happens today, we could be seeing potentially a new race winner on the cards between Nagera and GB68. Although Jake could come and spoil the party and take that away from everybody, as Ethan Woody has left the lobby. He's done spectating and he's learned a few lessons from the drivers out on track and how he can improve next time around. But here comes Meraki on Nagera. That's tight. That's late. Nagera not leaving a lot of space, and now on the inside will try and shove Jake off. Can't quite do so. Jake takes the position, and that's going to allow GB68 just to run a little bit clear. But Meraki vitally just stays inside the DRS window.
Yeah, Noiguera made quite the mistake coming through turn 2 as well. Ran very wide coming out of turn 1 in towards turn 2, and that opened the door for Meraki. But look at Fabio, who's now on the attack. Noiguera taking back second. Meraki loses out twice. Fabio now moves up to third. And look at this, GB started to career away once more. He nearly broke a second. Unfortunately, though, for him, Noiguera should still have DRS to allow that Mercedes to close back to the Aston Martin. But a major twist already. Meraki looked to have second in the bag. He lost out. Team radio from Zafso, I don't think I have the pace to catch these guys. So it might be the case that the one stop is OP here in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, but I might say that potentially Unstop Rob, if he can get past Zafso, could be the best bet for having the pace on these tyres to catch up, because he was setting the timing screens alight earlier, and he could be the one who could potentially close up the gap, because yes, Zafso is plateauing a little bit now with Tim and Marduk and that guy Vince working together, DRSing off each other. Zafso's kind of left out in the dark at the moment without any DRS, and is going to need maybe an Unstop Rob to work with to close up the gap to Team Marduk and that guy Vince, and then of course the rest of them. But of course, if they hit a cliff and their tyres drop off, there could be that opportunity there. But it is unlikely with GB's tyre wear, I think, still under 50% in this race. So they're still looking good for the guys up at the front doing that one-stopper.
Yeah, GB in the last lap was very nearly a whole tenth of a second quicker than the man in second, Noiguera, and faster than Infratic and Meraki. So the Aston Martin does have the pace. He has the speed. The big question is, though, can the likes of Zafso and Unstop Rob close the gap to the front end of the order? They're the ones that opted for that additional stop. Those at the very front opted for just the one stop. It is a battle of strategies here in this closing stages. A grandiose game of chess here on this board. That is the Melbourne Grand Prix circuit, the Albert Park street circuit here that has been the host of the Australian Grand Prix ever since 1996 after an 11-year stint at Adelaide, and we're witnessing another Creator Series classic. GB68 no race wins throughout the entirety of his Creator Series career. Neither does Noiguera. Infratic still chasing a first win as well. Meraki, who is now looking to try and raise his stakes, looking to try and break in for yet another podium, maybe even another potential race win. But history could well be in the making, with 3 drivers in the top 3 yet to ever win a Creator Series race. It's magic when you think about it, Hayden.
It is magic. I think sadly it's only going to be 2, because Infratic does have that 3-second time penalty to his name. It's going to make it very difficult for the Ferrari driver to take that race win. But GB's on slightly better tyres than Nagera. He's on 30%. Nagera's rear left is on 33. So GB looking in the hot seat to take this victory. And the driver's doing the two-stop, not quite working out for them. 4.8 seconds now, the gap between Zafso and that guy Vince. Although that guy Vince and Team Malu keeping the same gap to the leaders. So Zafso is just clawing away small amount of time, lap after lap after lap. Last lap there from Zafso on 19.0, GB68 and 19.8. So closing up just less than a second on the leaders at the moment. But time is running out. We've got 10 laps left of this race to go as we're riding on board with Michi Hoyer. He's currently inside the top 10. It's been a while since Michi Hoyer raced. It's good to have him back. And he's now hunting down M-Sky Z and trying to follow Unstop Rob, who I believe might have made a bit of a mistake, because Unstop Rob was only just behind Zafso in this race. So I think Unstop Rob might have made a mistake to drop back behind MSkyZ here. So yellow flag, Lolinova's out. Could that be LA safety car? It's a virtual safety car, which I'm not too sure if that's really going to help anyone other than the leaders, that giving them an opportunity to box. But have they passed the pit lane?
Well, let me just say, VSC out there, I got caught off guard because my timing screen, as I was looking at it, was showing safety car again. Obviously, a little bit of a discrepancy there between the live timing on our monitors and then, obviously, the actual game itself. But yes, a VSC out on track, folks. It is full course yellow VSC at this point.
It is a full safety car. It is a full safety car. I can see the safety car on the track map. Sorry, the game is showing virtual safety car, but it is a full safety car. And this is going to work out horrendously for Infratic, who was looking like at least the top 4 position. But now, we've got the whole pack bunched up. He's going to fall down the order if they don't separate in these last remaining laps.
Well, it's got to be a soft tyre shootout now, surely. If you're Noiguera GB68, get those hard tyres off because they can't afford to allow the group to come together. And indeed, they are going to come into the pits. Fabio, no choice either. He's got to come in. Meraki coming in as well. We've got that guy Vince, Tiamat Marduk. They're all coming in. I'll tell you what, the Aussie might have been handed a lifeline once more. Who knows? I mean, it looked dire for him at the very start of this race. He qualified not necessarily too great, was part instant with Meraki as well in Q3. That we had a bit of a joke about, but here this time, everyone with a clean slate of fresh tyres. They're all embracing the softs. Noiguera leads the way, exiting the pit, and now GB sits in second. Fabio in third as well. He's going to be a thorn in the side for those behind, with the likes of Meraki, Datguy Vince, Tiamat Marduk, Zapso, MSkyZ in the top 10, and with an opportunity, though he does have a penalty. Unstop Rob also has a huge chance as well. This race has totally turned on its head, with even those outside of the top 10 that we'd factor in to being race winners, the likes of Tom97, Rasin Chai, they're featuring there as well. You never know. We could see some late fireworks here, Hayden.
This has been horrible for everybody who did that earlier two-stopper, because Zafso's lost out so much ground, was fighting for victory, now down in 7th place. Look at Tom97, look at Razin Shai, but this safety car was caused by Lolinoba, and I believe TK's got a clip to show us of exactly how it occurred.
Yeah, we do indeed. On board with Lolinoba. Very similar to what we saw with Meraki in qualifying. Of course, that memorable instant where Ben Daly just clipped his front wing. Watch it as he comes around this right-hander. Car on the rear just loses all traction. Little touch on the exit curb. And it is a heavy, heavy hit into the barrier for the Italian man this afternoon. Both Italians out, himself and Early Pete. And it's an early shower either way.
Well, TK with more scoops than a 99 flake cone, my friend. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Let's head back to the action. Noiguera still out in front. They have caught up with the safety car. Full yellow conditions. GB68 waiting in the wings in behind. A mouth-watering set of affairs. 8 laps to go as we're looking at it on screen, ladies and gentlemen. But we still have the fact that the safety car remains outwards, which could greatly reduce it. It could be the case you don't get back running again until lap 52, Hayden.
This is going to be very, very interesting as well, though, because Ben is on medium tyres. Everybody else in the top 10 are on softs. Ben's on mediums. Then we've got Perya also, I believe, on medium tyres. And Ben said earlier on that he did not like these soft tyres. He said earlier on that in his first stint, the soft tyres felt awful. And maybe that was just due to overheating around this track. In this game, the mediums and the hard tyres are the best tyres. They are the race tyres on this game. Soft tyres, yes, okay, for a last lap dash, but there's still quite a few laps left to go. If we get going on lap 52, 6 laps left to go, those tyres start to overheat with, 2 laps left to go, then Tiamat Marduk is going to start to come into it, but he needs to be on the defensive. He needs to make sure that he doesn't get overtaken, and here's a team radio from GB68. I want to try and work with Noiguera here. Both of them are going to be wanting this race win, so this is crucial that they don't fight too hard in this race.
Yeah, they're going to have to be very cautious. Of course, tyres are still going to are going to be detrimental, essentially, in these conditions. We are in very hot conditions here. This track isn't very forgiving. The asphalt, of course, allows progressive driving, but at high speed. In fact, the safety car is going to come in this lap, so 51 will turn into 52. So we are absolutely right with that. So essentially gives us approximately 6 laps of solid racing. And don't forget as well, we're going to have to allow some time for the DRS to become active as well. So it's going to be well and truly down to the drivers to get things underway. And it's going to be a frantic finish here, with many of them no doubt looking to take chances and opportunity. And what it could mean for drivers such as Fabio. Of course, he does have a penalty against his name. It's not going to be useful for him coming into the very late stage. He's got Meraki behind, like on soft tyres, who is going to be utterly venomous. Of course, a former champion in his own right, as we now watch them come through the final 2 corners here on lap 51, soon to begin lap 52. Noigueira takes them down, and it's pedal to the metal for the 4th time in this race now. Noigueira leads them down in towards turn 1 in behind. GB68 getting a nice smooth start as well. Further back, Infratic nursing a gap equal between GB and Meraki alike as they now burst in towards turn 3 this time around. It's still Noigueira. GB68 trying to lurch closer. Further back in the top 10, gap starting to formulate. Michi Hoyer not quite close enough to unstop Rob, and there's also Tom97 cruising up towards his teammate. He's within 2/10 of Peya in 11th.
Yeah, great start there from GB68 compared to the other 2 on the safety car restarts, because he was tucked up behind Nogueira and stayed very, very close. Here comes Meraki. He'll be wanting to get past Infratic as soon as possible, because this is a non-overtaking issue, because Infratic has that 3-second time penalty, so it doesn't matter whether Infratic's ahead or behind. He's just kind of a cork in the bottle at the moment. Meraki needs to get past as soon as possible to give that opportunity to fight for the race win. We've got that guy Vince. Great comeback and great performance there from the Red Bull driver, moving up into P5, and on Team at Marduk as well on those mediums. How are they going to perform? Can he stay with the train? Can he go on the attack in the latter stages of the race? Tyres are still cold at this stage of the race, but they're going to build up temperature as we get through these laps after laps. Any sort of movements going on? Tom97 still remaining in P11 at the moment, but the DRS is now enabled. So back to DRS training. MSkyZ, solid performance from him so far. 8th place in this race from MSkyZ, and just ahead of him Zafso, who we were talking about so much, maybe could finally get that first race win since Imola. It's going to be difficult now for Zafso to do that, but never say never. There's still plenty of laps left to go.
Certainly is. 6-time race winner, MSkyZ, and hasn't taken a single podium this season. Sounds so alien when you think about it, and that trend is going to continue regardless, but a top 10 finish would still mean a lot. Further up the order, it's getting close between Fabio and GB68 once more, but GB does have the benefits of the DRS to close back up with Noigueira as they come through towards turns 9 and 10. He'll wait, though, until after turns 9 and 10 to once again open up that rear wing and challenge Noigueira through towards turn 11. Will he get close enough to potentially utilise that slipstream? Not quite, but happy to wait in behind. Team at Marduk saying we're waiting for the Fabio bottle. He believes in it. Of course, they were teammates last season. He'll know all about Fabio after they experienced winning a team's title last campaign.
Well, Ben's back was very sore last season. I feel like it's very sore again this season with all the carrying that he's been doing over the last 2. But we spoke about earlier, those inconsistencies from Fabio is fallen a little bit with that 3-second time penalty, and will it still yet to fall in the latter stages of this race? But yeah, Team at Marduk, I think that's what a lot of these drivers are looking at the moment, just getting past Fabio, because of course he has that 3-second time penalty. In essence, you know, you're like, why are you there? Why are you in the way? But of course, he's fighting for his own race. He's trying to be as far up the field as possible so that he doesn't fall down so much in the order. As we've got a yellow flag out on track. Peya's gone for a spin. Contact with the other Ferrari of Razin Shai, who's fallen down the order as well. And this has been a race to forget for Razin Shai. Got close with the Alpine reserve of Arseno. And all 3 of those are going to be way out of this race, as Punju now dropping down into P14. Might have gone illegal overtaking as Razin Shai picks up a 3-second time penalty. He'll go 3 wide down in towards the chicane. Meraki round the outside of Infratic. GB having a look on Nogueira. Can't get through, but here comes that guy Vince around the outside on Meraki into the hairpin. Can he pull off a maneuver? No, Meraki defending the inside very nicely, but Vince on the power around the outside through this tight technical section of the corner. Team at Marduk now having a look. They're all scraping away, scrapping away in this battle, and that's allowing Infratic to get a bit of a gap as Team at Marduk has a look on the inside. Will blast past that guy Vince. DRS open now and going for the attack, and he's got the position, and he's moved up into P5.
Very intelligent driving from Tim Mardik. He was so patient, waiting in behind, waiting for that move to happen. He knew that one of them would lose out, and he plunged straight on it. But now plunging this time is GB68 into the lead of the race here as they come in towards turn 3. He said he might need to go, and he certainly did. The Aston Martin, the mean green machine, now in charge on lap 55 of 58. 4 laps if you include this one to go. It is now tension time once more for GB68. Memories will flitter from Vegas not too long ago, but he won't want the same event to occur twice here in the Creator Series. Fabio, though, on the attack. Here comes Noiguera as they come in towards turns 9 and 10. Noiguera with the overspeed answers back brilliantly to GB68, but Fabio is also going to stick his oar in with DRS available. The Scuderia Ferrari on the back of the Aston as it looks to go round the outside of turn 11. He's surely got him. GB, can he respond? Coming through towards turn 12. They remain side by side, wheel to wheel. Tim Mardik, where has he come from? Around the outside of his former teammate from last season for a potential P3. This is extraordinary. Tim Mardik up into third at his home race. How does he do it? How has he done it? This is unbelievable. A winning prospect, but we've still got 2 or so laps to go.
Where on earth has Tiamat Mardu come from as Unstopped Rob retires from the session? I think that's in the pit lane, so that would be no cause for another late safety car. It's too late, I believe, anyway. Unstopped Rob, unfortunately, got caught up in an incident, I believe, down towards the end of Sector 1, start of Sector 2, and dropped down a few positions in the order. I think it's a little bit too late in the day to recover that race, unfortunately, for him. But Tiamat Mardu out of nowhere into P3, and that was very important for GB68 not to lose out to Infratic. P2 is the vital position in this race. You need to be in P2 going on to the final lap, and it's going to give you the great opportunity to take the win of this race. At the moment, it could be either GB68 or Nogueira getting their first win, but somebody who would like to take that away from both of them, and has done it multiple times from GB68, is the orange car of Tiamat Mardu. Let's see what he can do. As that guy Vince going on the attack of Meraki, can't quite get through once again.
Yeah, no, I tell you what, they're all being tested out on track right now. Zafso under pressure, but is trying to spearhead his way past Tom 97, has done so, but there's also a queue of cars in behind, including M-Sky Steve's trying to make a move, maybe muscle himself past the RB. Can't quite do it. But the interesting matter of fact is happening right at the front because Noiguera now being pursued by GB68. This is the one we want to see because there's a 4-way fight on the penultimate lap. And Infratic making up that 4-man fight. We'll make it a 5-man fight as well with Meraki right at the tail end of the field. GB getting very close. A mistake, though, from Infratic. And that could potentially open the door. Meraki getting very close. It looked like there was contact between the Williams and the Ferrari, but none of them coming off necessarily too badly. But I must say, I'm watching Tiamat Mardik like a hawk here, Hayden. And I must say I'm impressed. Race winner here back in Season 2. There's been no other race here at this track in the Creator Series. He holds only the one solitary win in the Creator Series at this circuit, and he's looking to make it 2. Can he do a double? Coming through towards turns 9 and 10. Surely not. They're going to remain nose to tail with the DRS. The Papaya McLaren is on the attack to take the lead once more, as he did, well, a few seasons ago. But once more, we're seeing battles further down in the top 10. This is madness, Hayden Gullis.
This is incredible racing from 4th down to PA at the moment. Yellow flag out on track. Another driver dropping through the field. It's the Red Bull. It's the RB, sorry, of Perya. But let's forget about him and let's focus on the fight at the front. Tiamat Mardu, he tested out the softs at the start of the stint. He said that they do not work, and now the mediums are absolutely cooking. He's in a prime position. P2, I spoke about it earlier. You want to be second in this race because you get that advantage of the DRS, but GB68 wants to take that away from him. He knows how important P2 is, and they're all going to be pushing down in towards that DRS zone into the chicane to try and overtake one another, and I'm expecting a 3-wide battle down into that corner. Tiamat Mardu, though, in the perfect position, 4 tenths away, and now it's going to be, as you say, pedal to the metal all the way down this straight.
Certainly will be. Benjamin Daly has not won this season since Spain in round 4, but is now being ploughed upon by GB68. What a monumental move this could be! The new Portonian around the outside of the Aston Martin. Oh no! Oh no! Goodness me! GB68, Tiamat Mardik coming together through 9 and 10. 3 into 1. Certainly did not go. Meraki somehow has taken the lead. The former champion who rivaled Benjamin Daly a few seasons ago back back at Spa in a controversial moment that led to Meraki taking the title. But as he now rounds the final corner, he's a victor once again for the first time this season. Meraki wins the Australian Grand Prix here in the Creator Series. Nogueira with yet another podium to add to his name. Tom 97 in third place. Truly mesmeric scenes to behold here in the final lap. Drama to the very last. Heartbreak once more for GB68. Another Vegas moment. He rolled the dice, but it came up with a denial once again. Unfortunately for Timomet Marduk, it would not be 2 wins here in Australia on the bounce. He will not win here once more. This time, it goes to his former title rival, Meraki. It is going to be Jake who takes victory once again in the Creator Series.
Importantly as well, Timomet Marduk only taking 8 points in this race today, which puts him 1 point away from that 1,000 marker. Will not do it in this race. Meraki, though, how has he pulled that off at the end? GB68 and Timomet Marduk both going on the attack of Nogueira at the end. I called it. I expected a 3-way down in towards that chicane. And unfortunately, GB68 and Timomet Marduk were just both pushing for it at the same time. Came together. Nogueira backed out of it. He broke in the middle, got out of that fight, and managed to settle. But those are your finishing standings. Meraki wins the race with Nogueira in second. Tom 97 works his way back onto the podium. That guy Vince in fourth. Zafso fifth. Infrati with a penalty finishes in P6 in the end with GB68 seventh. Timomet Marduk in eighth. Adam Sanderson ninth. M Sky Z finishes in the top 10 with Michi Hoyer 11th. Razin Shai 12th. Punju in 13th. Arseno in 14th. And Perya will be classified and will get a point in P15. And then the rest of the drivers, all our DNFs, Unstop Rob, Lodenoba, Hoodie Pete, Ethan Woody, and Mr. Dale, our final DNF in this race. George, that was absolutely crazy at the end of this race. I can't wait to get a clip from TK. I'm sure he's going to be looking for it in the background to find out what happened between GB68 and Timomet Marduk. But that was phenomenal racing, not just at the
I mean, obviously, I think off the back of that one, I think we witnessed, fights across various ends of the spectrum, of course, right through the top 10, even below, further below than that. It was utterly exhilarating to watch. Credit to everyone that took part in that one. It was certainly some final lap. And I can't help but feel sorry for Benjamin Daly and GB68. There was going to be a first win on the cards potentially for GB68. The move was brave. It was a huge effort, but very bold going around the outside into a set of corners. That chicane at turns 9 and 10. Really tricky business. We will, of course, TK, got to bring you in on this as well because you would have watched it from your own analytical standpoint. Can you just talk us through your own opinion of that moment through turns 9 and 10? Waite corner, where it would be Timomet Marduk met with GB68. It looked like GB had the run of his life coming through towards turns 9 and 10. It just did not work out, did it?
It certainly didn't this time around, and the way I'm looking at it from behind the desk, of course, very similar to a first lap incident. You've got to take it with a bit of pinch of salt. You have to take the situation into awareness. We can watch on board with Ben's BOV first. Of course, it's he has DRS on Nogueira. It's GB68 that has DRS on himself. He goes to the inside, and it's GB that goes to the outside. He holds the corner, and in my opinion, GB just loses the car, comes back on him this time around. We've got GB's perspective as well, as we always do. If the clip wants to work for us, there we go. Or maybe we don't. This is onto the run-up. A little bit behind. There we go. So, of course, DRS on Ben in front of him. You've got Nogueira, the bit of a sitting duck on this straight. GB goes right, Ben goes left. They had just separated like the Red Sea. And I think, but GB just loses the car on the grass on the right-hand side there.
Yeah, he just licked up the grass on the outside. I mean, that is devastating, isn't it? I mean, I think he felt, TK, that he was in a cup final at Wembley at that point, making a move like he did. 2 drivers in the space of 1 solitary corner. We all know, though, how risky, don't we, Hayden, that turns 9 and 10 can be. You mentioned the grass there, very easy to catch it, but it's not just that. The curbs on the escape coming out of turn 10 are lethal as well.
Yeah, it's just it's a difficult overtaking situation, especially to go 3 wide. And Nogueira did very well to back out of that because I think it could have been a massive airplane crash if all 3 of them got involved there. But GB68, once again, final lap of a race, you have an opportunity to take the race win. Was it pressure that got a little bit too much on him there? Because just dipped a tyre a little bit too wide, just like in Vegas, just broke a little bit too late. And unfortunately, has thrown away another opportunity brought a first race win. And it was just very unfortunate as well, I feel like, for Nogueira to be overtaken by Meraki at the end, having to back out and then not getting DRS off either of them because, of course, you don't get a new DRS detection point. So, unfortunately, he got swallowed up by Jake, and then, unfortunately, as well, he didn't get his first race win. But huge congratulations to Jake. A great recovery drive, I think, from both him and Team at Marduk. And just a very, very strong performance to take the race win.
Yeah, it would have hurt, I think, obviously, Tim at Marduk a little bit because, looking back at the championship fight, we did speak about the two championship leaders not featuring here tonight in the Creator Series. So it was a huge opportunity here to obviously launch his own title charge. But we're going to be heading into our interviews portion now, folks. Meraki standing by, I believe, in the waiting room, and we are going to bring him in. Jake, welcome. I must say, you must feel like Lady Luck right now because there is no chance in hell that you were predicting that you would take a race win on that final lap. It looked like it was in GB's hands, if I'm honest, but it just did not pan out that way. Profiteering off the back of the moment between Team at Marduk and GB, talk us through it.
I don't know. It's honestly, from lap 1, I had damage because, I think turn 3 went 4 wide, and I got just shoved off into the gravel, got damage from that, and I thought the race was over, just hoping for a safety car. And then I was always going to do a one-stop, and I was happy that me, GB, Nogueira, and so on. I think Ben, well, we got the safety car at the end anyway, so that doesn't matter. But I don't know. I didn't think I was going to win that race at all. But I don't know. I really thought it was fun.
It was a tale of two strategies, wasn't it? I mean, up until the final pit stop phase, because we had a few drivers that opted for the two-stop that had a chance of potentially finishing quick, but we had many that decided to try and take it right to the end. You were one of those drivers, in fact, prior to the safety car. You were on those hard tyres. Was there ever at all an intention or, something that entered your mind's eye, should I do one final stop prior to the safety car?
No. I was always going to do a one-stop before the race anyway. So that was always the plan. Initially, I wanted to have 2 sets of hards in the race, but my game crashed as the lobby went in, and I couldn't select my tyres. But that meant I had 1 set of hard tyres. But it was literally just do a one-stop and hope for no safety cars at the end. But ironically, I think the safety car kind of helped me win the race at the end anyway. So. Because I know how desperate GB is for that first win. It's another bottle that I have profited off.
It's another last lap bottle. And I want to say, I think we're going to have to send you and Ben for counselling, I think, because we saw in... Yeah, you and Ben. We saw in qualifying, you and Ben came together in quali. And then, of course, once again, you've profited off the back of a Team at Marduk bin, because you did exactly the same when you two were tussling for the championship at Spa. So what's going on between you two? Marriage has broken down? Or is it...
Did you actually see what happened in qualifying?
We missed it, but all I saw was penalty, and that was
so. It was Ben didn't actually do anything wrong, and I don't think I really did anything wrong. I hit the curb on the inside onto the right-hander.
We did actually see that. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so I spun and I couldn't get out the way, and Ben was on his flying lap behind me, so I just had to brace for impact at that point because I couldn't go left because there was a wall there, and I was going too slow to get out the way on the right. So I just had to watch him just charge towards me. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, he couldn't do anything, everybody. He couldn't do anything.
No bad blood at all.
You say that. But no, honestly, this could be a turning point as well in your season as well. I mean, obviously, there's still a few rounds to go. Thoughts on the rest of the championship after securing that victory?
I'm just here for vibes. I don't think I'll ever win the championship this season. If I do, then I'm buying a lottery ticket, so...
Well, you never know. You could get the jackpot, so we'll wait and see. But congratulations on a tremendous effort. A fantastic win. Meraki, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Jake, everybody. All smiles after taking victory last time out. We can bring in Tom97 as well, because, of course, he had an action-packed race. And there he is now. We've got him on camera. Tom97, Tom Martinez, what an action-packed race you had. A couple of moments out on track. Your race very nearly turned out like Chelsea's league form.
Well done, George. Welcome back. Good to see you, mate. I hope you're well.
I'm doing well, mate. How are you?
Yeah, nice one. I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine, mate. Very fine.
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say, I mean, your form this race almost mirrored the Chelsea Football Club League form, I would say, in the Premier League. You may be able to go in on us and give us some analysis of that. But some moments occurring out on track, a couple of spinalas you can tell us about?
Yeah. So a cat has 9 lives, and so do I, apparently, because I did not deserve anything out of that race, to be absolutely frank. So I'm very happy with my finishing position, because I had 2 very near misses, and then the third time was the charm. I spun into the pits and got damaged. So I got my just reward for, pushing the limits multiple times. So the fact I even got third, I'm very happy with that. I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very bold, a very bold strategy as well on your part, because essentially you adopted that 3-stop. Well, you had to do the 3-stop obviously after the safety car, but a 2-stop strategy, as many of the drivers were opting to go to the end on their hard compounded tyres. Was the 2-stop always the plan?
The 2-stop was the original plan, yeah, because even on the preset strategy, you could just tell the tyre was a bit higher than other circuits. So a medium, hard medium was going to be, what we were looking for in that one. But obviously, safety car kind of changes that all up and throws a spanner in the works. I thought I had a decent strat because I went for an aggressive undercut. First kind of box onto the hards early on, and no one really responded besides Safso. So I thought myself, actually, I might have a shot here to, drop the guys. But Saf, to be fair, covered me off well, and then when it came down to it, the 1-stop was actually pretty decent. I didn't really think about it at any point. So also it doesn't help that I, when I pit, got wing damage, so your pit stop is extended by 1, a wing change, and 2, by that spin and getting reset in the pit entry. I probably lost about 10 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite a fraught one. I mean, it's you've had a wonderful season, I would say, off the back of race wins. I mean, we look back at Canada, the Fan Vote GP, Spa, for example. I mean, you're coming in on a rich vein of form. It's almost criminal that you're not really at the top of the championship, I would say, because you've got more wins than the likes of El Rey, even the likes of Alex Gillen this campaign. The championship is still very much in sight, and that's a very important P3. Would you say that's a huge rescue off the back of that final safety car?
Yeah, that was a huge one. I didn't really see a P3. I thought I could maybe get a top 6 maybe if I'm lucky, because the reality was everyone's on softs and there's 4 DRS zones, so it's very difficult to jump cars because everyone's just getting that constant DRS effect. So it's hard to make an overtake, but. Luckily, pulled off some good moves, opportunistic, was aggressive when I had to be, and then cautious when I had to back off at certain times, and it paid off. Like, at the end of the day, this season could have been a lot smoother for me. I should have won today if I'd been a bit more consistent with my mistakes, and the same goes for Hungary a couple of races ago. And obviously Qatar had disconnection trouble, so there's a few wins that have gone by the wayside that I probably could have had. So we're still here. And there's still 4 rounds to go. So
yeah, well, absolutely. And 4 extraordinary rounds they will be. Of course, we've got Vegas next. What are your thoughts on Vegas?
Not a fan, but we have to drive it. So it is what it is.
Well, we'll see whether you can roll the dice, mate. Wish you all the very best of luck. Congratulations on a superb podium.
Cheers. Thank you, mate.
Nice one. Tom97, everybody. Superstar as always here in the Creator Series. Always lovely to have Tom Martinez with us. And fantastic performance to rescue, should we say, what could have been a disastrous day for him after managing to get a front row in terms of qualifying. I mean, TK, he summed that up, I suppose, brilliantly. It was a rescue mission, was it not?
It certainly was. It was always a battle uphill, so to speak, for himself. And he overcame many obstacles, but unfortunately not quite as many as he maybe once hoped.
No, not at all. And Hayden, what does that win mean for Meraki's season?
As he said, I think he's just here for the vibes. I mean, he's still quite a bit off. He was 100 points off El Rey coming into this. He closed up slightly, but still is going to need a bit of a miracle going into 4 rounds to close up for any sort of championship fight. And I think as he is a champion before, unless he's winning the championship, any other position doesn't really mean too much for him. So, I'm glad for him that he's in here, he's having fun and he's enjoying it, and he's just enjoying racing with other people. And I'm sure would have been a great view for him to watch both GB and Tiamat Marduk wipe each other out, and his name lit up in the lights as he takes past Nogueira. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure for him he'll just be taking this race per race and just having fun with it.
Absolutely. And folks, obviously looking ahead, we've got some fantastic races to come, and the championship is still very much in, well, I'd say it's probably in stronger fettle than it was coming into this round, because we've got El Rey still leading the championship, of course, on 163 points, but Tom 97 off the back of taking that P3, now sitting second in the championship race and holding on to a very strong position as well. Alex Gillen removed down to fourth. Truly exceptional, extraordinary. Tiamat Marduk now sat in third. What could have been for Tiamat Marduk had he actually come out and won this race? It was very much in his hands, Hayden. GB68 also could have benefited off some big points here today. Noiguera alike, though, he took a huge prize in coming home in second. Meraki's win putting him on 90 points. But it's getting juicy. With 4 rounds to go, I think we could be in for as many as a 4 to 5 car battle for the championship at this rate going into the final round.
Potentially, but they all need to stop El Guri's dominance and his consistency, because that's what El Guri has just been so good at so far this year. I mean, we just look at the standings and he's usually always up there. His worst result this season has been in round 6, where he picked up 12 points in a race. So, you know, the consistency has just been great from El Guri, but there's only the 2 wins for him under his name. And of course, you know, we'll be looking at the likes of Tom 97, Tiamat Marduk and Alex Gillen, whether they can catch up. But you rightly say this was a great opportunity for GB68 and for Tiamat Marduk to close up that gap and give them that opportunity in the championship to close up. But this was also a great day for someone like Infratic. A good result for them, despite the penalty. Still some strong points, moves themselves up to P12, and in their own individual battles, they'll be happy with that one. And Adam Sonderson moved himself onto the standings as well with those points secured in P20. He'll be happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just outside the top 5 for Infratic, who has just nestled in a 23rd top 10 finish, which is brilliant for him. Obviously, still chasing that first elusive podium and that first elusive victory as well. But folks, absolutely tremendous having you all with us as well alike. Of course, we're going to have some final thoughts here. I'm going to bring in TK. TK, just to summarize that race for us in your own mind as well, give us your thoughts. Can you give us any final murmurs of genius or brilliance like we always get from yourself?
Well, I think there was definitely the odd occasion where we saw some drivers playing outside the ballpark, shall we say. GB going for the one-stop strategy where drivers had gone for 2. We saw the decision, plan A or plan B, and he was just discussing that with his chat. And of course, the late safety car bringing chaos amongst the order here in Australia. And I think that final last gasp hurrah towards the line, maybe just pushing it a bit too much, and what could have been if they just held on for half a couple of miles.
Absolutely. Hayden, any final thoughts from yourself?
Strong race, as we expect with the Creative Series. Great performance out there from drivers. A bit of chaos in there as well. GB68, let's make that 0 even fatter after that bottle once again. And Mr. Dale, of course, adding to his DNF streak and making that percentage a little bit higher. Nothing out of the usual from Creative Series.
No, it's exactly top content. That's what we want. That's exactly what we want. But we also want your thoughts at home as well, folks. We'd like to thank you all as well for lighting up the live chat. You've all been absolutely fantastic in Twitch and also on YouTube as well. Keep it coming. We love to see it. And be sure as well to join the Discord. Get involved in the conversation as well on social media. You can, of course, see the links above. We have got YouTube, as you can see. Obviously, you've been tuned in with us on YouTube. Big hello to every single one of you. If you've joined us on Twitch, big hello to you guys as well. You can find us on Instagram at F1 Creator Series, as well as on X at F1 Creator Series. They're all the same. And TikTok at F1 Creator Series. Daily content is kicked out as well. You can check out all sorts of things that we have available and latest news as well on those social media sites. And in the meantime as well, if you've enjoyed the commentary, why not check us out as well? You can find me at George Morgan TV. Yes, I've got my old account back at George Morgan TV. You can find me on there on all social media sites, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, you name it. They're all the same at George Morgan TV. Hayden, where can they find you, sir?
Just Hayden Gullis, plain and simple. You can find me on every platform under Hayden Gullis.
You certainly can. TK, over to you. Where can they find you, sir?
Everything's at They Call Me TK. And George, can I just say something to our viewers before we finish off for this afternoon? Because I know he's not going to say it himself. The man in the middle right here, I want to wish him a massive happy birthday from all of us here. He's kept it quiet, but I think everyone at home deserves to know.
He's sensitive about his age, that's why.
Not quite on your level yet, George.
You're catching up, my friend.
Yet, mate. I got a few 20 years to go, mate. Don't worry about it.
It's like I'm catching up in terms of how tall I am compared to you. I still have a long way to go to reach that. But
Thanks,
honestly, but yeah, happy birthday to Hayden Gullis. I want to see that lit up in the live chat, everybody. Be sure to send him your support. support as well. Really do appreciate every single one of you. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Hit the follow button on Twitch as well. We've got 4 more rounds to bring you. It's getting exciting. Vegas, Mystery GP, Netherlands and Monza still to come. We're going to round the season off at the Temple of Speed later in the season. But in the meantime, folks, until next time, we'll see you at Vegas where we'll roll the dice once more. Goodbye.